well. Okay, yes, I'm feeling better now. That's good. Okay, so yeah, all of you, like most of you were on this cell, right? Okay, so I hope you understand why the cell came from, where it came, and all that stuff. And yeah, now the last week, of course, it confirmed that we're bearish, right? But on this week, why were we still looking for buys? Because we didn't have any confirmation, right? So I always tell you to trade what you see, right? Not what you think you see. So in this week, like you could have sold it anyway. Okay, so I have sells in this here. So how did we take them? Because daily never turned bullish, right? Daily turned bullish in here, daily turned bullish here, but this day daily started turning bearish, right? Daily turned bearish here, and from that point onwards, daily never ever turned bullish, right? Daily never ever turned bullish. So that is why every single new day you have to look into the daily time frame, see what the daily has done to check if they have changed the storyline or whatever. But and if they haven't done that, there's no point of looking at buys, right? There is no point of looking at buys, right? So like I told you once again, trade what you see, right? So if the daily never turns bullish, if the daily never turned bullish, why do you just assume shit and then just try to take buys, right? There's no point of doing that, right? There's no point at all. So the best thing to do is just go with the flow, right? So you'll have to just go with whatever they are showing us. So in these areas, of course, we had some pretty good trades, right? So let me put the replay tool somewhere here. Okay, so let's break down the previous week. Okay, let's break down the previous 2 weeks because I wasn't there, I think. Okay, so let's see. So in here, right, this day I told you, this week I told you, okay, we are bullish, right? And you know the reason why I told that because weekly closed above weekly. Sorry, my voice is a little low today. Yeah, daily closed above I'm sorry, weekly closed above weekly, and then daily did what? Daily gave us the bullish breakout. That was the last breakout we had. So that is why I thought weekly was bullish, right? Weekly was bullish, but clearly daily was bearish, right? Daily was bearish because not in here. Yeah, we talked about this week, right? Not here. I'm talking about the other one. We already went through that week. I think we need to, yeah, here. This is where we need to talk about. Okay, so I told you weekly was still bullish. Reason the only breakout on the on the daily we had was still to the upside. This one, right? We never had any bearish breakouts. So that is why I told you weekly must still be bullish, right? Weekly must still be bullish because now a weekly bullish storyline started here, right? A weekly bullish storyline started here and it never ended. How does a weekly bullish storyline end? Weekly has to reject a weekly resistance and then daily has to give you a bearish breakout. But did we ever get that? No. See that? Do we have any bearish breakout here on the daily? No. So can you confirm that weekly is bearish? No. Okay, no, not bearish. Yeah, bearish. Can you confirm that weekly is bearish at this point? No. No one can, right? No one can confirm that weekly is bearish. So the best thing to do is, like I told you, just go with whatever they're showing you, right? Just go with whatever they're showing you because now what if it went up, right? What if it went up? It didn't, but what if it went up, right? So it fails sometimes, but if it's a rule, just stick to the rule. Okay, just stick to the rule. Just accept that sometimes it fails because there are no holy grails in this market. The only holy grail is how flexible you are. Okay, if you are flexible enough, right? If you are just flexible enough, if you understand all the concepts, you can always just adapt to this. Okay, adapt to whatever the market is showing you. Okay, because now in here weekly was bullish, right? Weekly was still bullish, but daily was bearish, right? How did daily turn bearish? This thing rejected a daily resistance, and then H4 gave us the bearish breakout right here, right? The H4 gave us the bearish breakout. So then we talked about these days, I think, right? We talked about these days, and then this thing dropped, right? It came down into weekly zones. I told you I had some losses over here, right? Because high risk buys, right? I wanted to take high risk buys in here, but the market just went straight through this, right? It went straight through this. So after this point onwards, what can we do? Like we need to understand this, right? We need to understand, okay, now the chances of the market like going bullish once again is very less likely, right? Because it's breaking all this. Like if you go to the line chart, you can see how structure and everything is broken, right? All of this is broken. So now you need to understand, okay, now it's better to go with the sell, right? Now it is better to go with the sell. So what I did was I missed this entry, I missed the next entry because I wanted to wait at least until the market gets here because this is the closest zone we had on the daily. Yeah, this was the closest zone we had on the daily. So this is where I wanted to take a sell from, not exactly here, but refining it into these areas, maybe looking at all these areas and maybe waiting for confirmation. That is what I wanted to do personally, but The market never got here, right? Now, I thought this might be a very nice setup. Reason, even the Asian high, I think, was set right above that. Yeah, see that? Even the Asian high was set right above that. So I thought, okay. But the thing is now you need to also understand that we already had our setup. Okay, we already had the setup that we always trade. What is that? H4 rejecting this H4 resistance very clearly, right? And then H1 gave us a bearish breakout right here. Now you see now, like I told you, if you are flexible enough, you can always get some good trades. But the thing is now, yeah, no, like trust me, like no one ever can be that flexible. Look, it takes years and years of experience. You can, I can guarantee that. Okay, it takes years and years of experience to be like that flexible. Okay, we all make mistakes, so that's okay. At least if you're on the right side of the market, like missing an entry is not an issue. Okay, it is not an issue. So I had all these zones marked on. I thought this was a better zone because like we had, I think, this trend line or something. Okay, and this Asian high, right? We had the Asian high. Now, if you put that aside, if you look at the setup that we always trade, can you see how H4 rejected H4, right? H4 rejected H4, and then if you go to H1, H1 clearly broke structure, right? H1 clearly broke structure in here, in these areas. So which means now, what did I tell you? To find out the best zone for, sorry, to find out the best zone for sells, I told you to, like rather than just directly mark now zones on the H1 time frame, what did I tell you? I told you to go to the H4 and then mark out the H4 zones, right? The newly created H4 zones. So what do we have here? We have this SBR and then we have this resistance, right? See that the names aren't necessary if you're still struggling with that, let that go. Okay, so we had that. And then maybe now I'm talking about hindsight stuff, okay, because I was waiting for, honestly, I was waiting for this to get taken out. Okay, not gonna lie, I was waiting for this to get taken out, but then again, it never did that. Okay, it never did that. But in hindsight, yeah, speaking in hindsight, we could have taken sales from these areas, right? Could have taken sales from these areas because we clearly had the setup that we always wanted. We could have maybe used the smaller lot size and then taken a good trade. See, look at the drop. It's a good one, right? That's a good one. Now, if you go to H1, I think once again we had that setup. See, H4 rejected H4 right here. I'm talking about this candle. And then H1 broke the structure. Okay. And another thing I wanted to point out was I saw someone making, yeah, let me point that out, okay, because that's very important. Yeah, I'm talking about was it this one? Give me a second, give me a second. Let me take that example. Okay, just wanted to point that out, and because that's a mistake, and it did play out though, but it was a mistake, so I'll show you. Yeah, I'm not putting you down or whatever. Okay, I'm just pointing out a mistake so you don't do it again. Okay, give me a second. Let me see. Where was that? Mm. Oh, I think it was from some other batch because I can't find it here. Yeah, I think it was on some other batch because now remember, this is what I wanted to tell you. Okay, this is what I wanted to tell you. Give me a second. Give me 1 second. There will be somewhere here. Okay, let me share screen. Here. Now, this is what I wanted to tell you. Now, I told you we had our setup, right? What is that? H4 rejecting H4, and then H1 giving us a breakout to the downside. So that is our confirmation setup, right? So now, if you are looking for an entry, remember you're looking for an entry with the next candle. Okay, with the next candle now, not after this. Okay, no. In here, of course, we got this. See, now once again, it's the same exact scenario, right? It's the same exact scenario. In here, I told you H4 rejected H4, H1 broke out, right? And then I told you rather than just marking out zones on the H4 itself, the H1 itself, go to H4 and then mark out the new zones. So that is what we did. The market came there and it made a drop. Right now, the same thing happened, right? Same thing happened. H4 rejected the H4 resistance. And then if you go to H1, once again, we have a minor breakout. If you zoom in, see that? We had a minor breakout. Then what did I tell you? Rather than just marking out zones on the H4, H1 itself, go to the H4, mark out the newly created zone on the H4. That should be the best zone, right? That should be the best zone for a sell. So what happened, right? What happened? The next candle clearly gave us that setup like this, right? Now, what I wanted to point out was this. Now, if you once again want to take a sell, right? If you once again want to take a sell, now let's assume in here. Let's assume in here. Now, let's say the next candle never tapped here and it just dropped. Okay, let's say it dropped in somewhere around here. Now, what some people do is they'll think, okay, like let's say the current market price is somewhere here now. Okay, just assume that the current market price is somewhere here and the market is moving up here. Okay, now don't tell, okay, H4 rejected H4 here. Inside of this, H1 gave us a bearish breakout. So this should be a good zone to take a sell from. Okay, so don't do that. That is wrong. Okay, because this confirmation entry must be for the next candle itself. Okay, so which means right after this happened, the next candle is where you're trying to get an entry. Okay, not the next day or the next week. Okay, it has to happen the next hour or else the next, yeah, inside of the next H4 candle itself. Okay, so keep that in mind. That is very important. Okay, the confirmation entry has to happen within the next 4 hours itself, or else just let that go. Let's say the market never got here, let that go. Okay, you're not waiting for the next candle to get here. No, we need to quickly adapt. Okay, be flexible. Okay, so remember that very well. Okay, if the next week comes into this area, just don't say, oh, okay, in here H4 rejected H4 and then H1 broke out, so this is a good zone to sell. No, that is completely wrong. Okay, so always remember the confirmation entry has to happen within the next 4 hours. Okay, so that is what I wanted to point out. Okay, so what happened? That it made the drop, right? It made a good drop. You can see that very clearly, right? It made a very nice drop, right? It made a very nice drop. And also now in here, even though we have good reactions, right? Even though we got good reactions in here, did H1 ever break? No. Can you say? Never broke structure or has never broke any open close levels or whatever. So can you confirm that it's going to move up? No, you can't, right? You can't. So the best thing to do is once again look for sales itself, right? Look for sales itself. But yeah, if you manage to get any of this, you're done. Okay, I did not because like I told you, I was waiting for this to get taken out. It never did that. Then it did this. Yeah, now if we wait for the next day to end, 7:30. This is 11:30. Okay, let's go to the daily. Now look at this. If we go to the daily, how does the daily bearish storyline end, right? How does the daily bearish storyline end? Daily has to reject a daily support, right? We had this very clearly. Daily tapped into this open close, right? Daily tapped into this open close, made a rejection. But like I told you, how does the daily bearish storyline end? Daily has to reject the daily support, and then H4 has to give you what? A bullish breakout, right? Now, if you go to H4, did we ever get a bullish breakout? No, we did not, right? We never got any bullish breakouts. Can you see? We did get an open close break, but I told you the storyline does not change with an open close break. So now you need to understand, okay, what we are still bearish, right? We are still bearish on the daily, right? We're still bearish on the daily. So what you can do is mark out the best zones that you have, mark out the zones that you have on the daily itself. What did we get here? Can you see how fractal the market is? You see that, right? The market is very fractal. Like everything I'm talking about on the lower time frames, it's the same thing that's happening on the higher time frames, or is vice versa, right? Everything that happens on a higher time frame happens on a lower time frame. Okay, so you need to understand that. Okay, price is fractal. Okay, price is fractal. Everything happens on every time frame. Okay, so I was waiting for this zone for a sell, right? I was waiting for this zone for a sell because I thought, sorry, this should be the good zone, right? This should be the best zone because also these days I was a little sick. I didn't want to look at the charts like again and again. So what I did was I had my alert set here. I had my alert set here and I was taking a little rest. Okay, and yeah, wanted to trade when the market gets here. Okay, but then in the night I saw how the market reacted to this H4 resistance. And why do we even focus on the H4? Right? Why do we even focus on the H4? Because daily was in a bearish storyline which started here. So if it is a daily bearish storyline, H4 will be the time frame for entries and obstacles, right? Entries and obstacles, H4 will be the time frame. You know that. But I told you the best zone is here, right? The best zone is here. So this is your safest zone. This is your safest zone. That is why I had my alert set here. It never got there, but that's okay. But yeah, you would have seen how the market tapped right into this resistance, right? I don't know if we got the confirmation set up. I wasn't paying attention. Yeah, we also got it, I think. Let me go here. Yeah, we also got the confirmation set up. Can you see that? H4 rejected the H4 resistance. You can see that very clearly. And if you go to H1, H1 broke to the downside right here. See that? So if you train your eyes, if you pay enough attention, now this is what you need to do. Like if you are forgetting about this confirmation setup, set an alarm. This should be at your time. Okay, like for me, set an alarm to when the H4 candle closes. Okay, so what I did those days was I skip Asia. So at 11:30, I have an alarm set. So I know, okay, I need to pay attention to what the H4 candle did. Okay, at At 3:30, once again, I need to pay attention to what the previous H4 candle did to see if I have my confirmation entries. Do you see that? At 7:30, once again, I'm paying attention to see what the previous H4 candle did. Okay, so if you are forgetting this, please make sure you do this until you get used to it. Okay, so just once you set the alarm, you know, okay, because most people forget this, right? Most people have no clue if the H4 candle closed or not. Okay, so set an alarm to when every H4 candle closes to see if you have your confirmation. So in here, right here, what happened? H4 rejected H4, H1 broke. I think this happened during Asia, so there is no way we could have gotten any entries. Okay, so but yeah, what happened on the H4? Do we have any zones for sells? No. Yeah, we still have this resistance only. Go to H1. Yeah, we have these areas. Let's see what he did. I don't know what he did. I didn't look at the charts, I think. Look at that. Okay, so tapped right back into this, made a drop right now. Once again, why is it rejecting here? Why is it even giving us reactions from these zones? Because daily bearish storyline, H4 time frame will be an obstacle, right? H4 will be the time frame for obstacle. So do you see why it is reacting to these H4 zones? You see that now, right? You see that now. Okay, but yeah. Now, once again, if we pay attention to the closing of this H4 candle, we have our confirmation set up, right? For a sell. H4 rejected H4, go back to H1, you have the breakouts very clearly, right? So which means you can look for more sells, right? So which means where can we take the sell from? The closest zone we have is here, I think, right? We have a zone in here. The closest one, let's see. Just pay attention to current price action. Let's say these areas, maybe refining it into some lower time frames, somewhere here, right? And then what can we do? If the market gets here, you can maybe focus a little bit on timing, right? You can focus a little bit on timing. Let's say London kill zone or London open like this. Draw some trend line. Let's say maybe this one. Yeah, something like this. This might be a good one. Did this play? Let's see. Okay, so maybe we can take a sell from somewhere here, right? Yeah, I think we missed it. Yeah. Yeah.
Could we have taken this resistance?
Which one?
This one? Like if you go
Well,
to the
of course.
daily,
Yeah. Now the thing is, you could have done that. You could have done that, but with the replay tool, if I go back to the daily, on the daily, it might have been a support or something. Which one was that? Yeah, it's nothing on the
I
daily. No,
I
not the
think
daily
on
zone.
the 4 hour, on the
Maybe
4 hour.
4 hours. Yeah. Yeah. Now the thing is, I think it played out from
Yeah,
this
yeah,
zone,
this
right?
one, this one. Yes.
This one.
It
You
did
could
not
have,
even touch this one.
yeah, I did not even tap there. I did not even tap there. But the thing is now, like I told you, just stick to current price action. So you're dealing with less stress. Okay. If you try to do this, then again, if you might scroll a little bit to the left and think, okay, why not this zone? Why not these zones and all that? So that'll be confusing. Okay. So just make it a habit to stick to current price action. So if it goes, it goes. But if it comes back into these areas, you're getting the best entry. Okay, because we're here to get a trade, we're here to get some quality setups, right? Not just get in on every single move the market makes. You need to get in on quality setups. Okay, so just make it a rule to stick to current price action. That's always safe. Okay, and less stress. Because like I told you, now one main reason that I switched from SMC to SNR was because SNR was simple. Now, once again, if I try to mark out zones like this, just imagine how confusing that is, right? That'll be more confusing. So stick to current price action. If it comes there, you have the best entry. Or else just let that go. Who cares, right? You always have enough opportunities. Okay, you always have enough opportunities. So that's that. Okay, so in here, of course, I think we missed it, right? I think we missed it, and a new resistance was created here on the H4, right? Why are we once again paying attention to the H4 resistance? Because daily bearish storyline, this might be a good zone to take a trade from, right? So let's see, maybe we can line it up with the time, right? We can line it up with timing, 4:30, 5:30. I think I don't remember the times for London now. I think 4:30, 5:30. Maybe, yeah, drawing something like this. I think that's the best fit we have. Or maybe this one. Let's see, maybe this is better, right? Something like this. And then take in an entry. Let's see. Okay. See that? Right at New York Open. So you see how important timing is, right? You see how important timing is. Look at that. 5:30 p.m. Okay, into the H4 resistance, taps, and like right away, look at this. You have 70 pips right away. See that? So that's the thing. If you pay yourself at the right point, you can always get some good trades here. Okay, you can always get some good trades. So look at the drop, right? It made a nice drop, and I think we have our confirmation entry again, right? I think we have the confirmation entry once again because H4 rejected H4, H1 breaks, right? H1 breaks, but yeah, with this type of momentum, normally it doesn't return back into these areas. Okay, so these are the times when you miss your confirmation entries, but they're always safe. Okay, remember to always take confirmation entries because they are always safe. Now, there's a way to trade these. Okay, I think these are called decision points. We will go through these later because decision points, trust me, they are very confusing, very confusing. Don't even think of that stuff. Okay, I will explain it when the time comes when everyone is okay, like when everyone understand this stuff properly. Okay, so normally what we do with decision points is like, yeah, it has to be with a momentum break and it normally returns into a decision point and it drops and stuff like that. So we'll talk about them later. So yeah, what you need to understand is that when we have drops with huge momentum, it doesn't go back to these areas, just taps into nearby zones and it just falls. Okay, but the problem with these types of entries is you have no idea, okay, where the market is going to come into. We have these, we have these, we have these. So that's why I told you it's better to stick to recent price action. If it comes, it comes, or else it goes. That's it. Okay, so something like that. So let's see. Ah, no, it didn't even tap there. Okay, let that go. Let that go. It's just dropping. Let's wait for this day to end. Let's see how it ended. Let's go to daily. Yeah, if you go to daily, you can see that, right? Daily is clearly bearish, right? Daily is just melting. You can see that, right? You can see that very clearly. So now this day, do you have any reason to say daily is in a bullish storyline? No, right? Daily is still in a bearish storyline. So which means we can still look for sells, right? We can still look for sell setups, right? We can still look for sell setups. So this day I did trade. I was looking at these zones, right? I was looking at this zone because once the reason I did that was because it was used as a support once. Can you say? It was used as a support once. So there are chances of it getting used as a resistance, right? And then if you look at recent price action, we have this open close, but I prefer this open close. Reason, previous day's high right above it. Always a better zone, right? This zone, does it have any liquidity below it? Nothing. Even if you drop to lower time frames, nothing. Can you see? It doesn't have any liquidity below that, but look at this one. This is the previous day's high liquidity. So now you need to understand, okay, which zone is the better zone out of these two? Obviously this one, right? Because it has the previous day's high liquidity right below that. Okay, now you see, we're not using SMC a lot, right? Not so much, but still, it's good to know this stuff, right? It's good to know this stuff. Now you know, yeah, normally this is a good zone, right? If a zone has liquidity sitting below it, it's a good zone. Very simple. That is just simple SMC, you know that. Okay, so out of these two zones, I will right away go here. Okay, I'll right away go here because this is the best zone we have, right? This is the best zone we have. Now I'm not going to draw the trend lines and stuff because you can draw it from anywhere, right? So we had the previous day's high and all of this. Now, for these, did you see this? Now, if you watch the session about trend lines, I told you when are these types of trend lines used? Okay, I don't know if anyone remembers this. When are these types of trend lines used?
It's a big momentum.
With momentum. Can you see that? Big momentum. What happened? Back to the trend line, dropped. Okay, so I think it happened again and again, right? I think it happened again and again. Even on the H1 time frame, we had some good examples, I think. Yeah, this was the same one. I think we got it somewhere in here once again. I don't remember. Or maybe even this one, I think. Yeah, almost into that. See, because can you see this huge momentum, right? Can you see this huge momentum? So normally when we have this huge momentum, like these are the types of trend lines that plays out. Okay, these are the types of TLs that plays out. So not that important. Okay, that is not a very important thing to note. But the reason I'm telling you that is because most people will struggle to draw trend lines here. Okay, when we have huge momentum, most people will struggle to draw trend lines. They scroll a lot back to the left, try to pull up like make up trend lines from here. So don't do that. Just remember when we have huge momentum, these are the types of trend lines that you could use. Okay, you could use. Okay, so like I told you, this is the best zone. Why? Because previous days high liquidity. Okay, and this one also a good zone because why? It was used as a support on the H4. You can see it was used as support twice, but if you go to the daily, it was used as a support once. Okay, so that's a good zone to take a trade from, right? That's that in my opinion, that's a good zone to take a trade from. Okay, so now if we wait for Asia to end, okay, if we wait for Asia to end, first one, Second one. Okay, if you wait for Asia to end now, like I told you, now it has not gotten here yet, right? It has not gotten here yet. But if you pay attention to the current H4 candle, what has it done? H4 rejected the H4 support. Can you see it? That's an H4 support, right? H4 rejected the H4 support. And then go back to H1. What has it done? Broken structure right here. Can you see that? It has broken structure right here. So which means now what do we know? We know that, okay, we have our confirmation setup, right? We have our confirmation setup. So then what did I tell you? I told you the best thing to do is what? Okay, rather than directly marking our zones on the H1, because now you might think, okay, here we have an open close. Let me use this. Are you going to do that? No. What did I tell you? I told you go to the H4 time frame, mark out the newly created zone on the H4, and then work around that area. That is what I told you, right? If you go to H4, we have an open close level here, right? The closest zone we have. Yes, of course, we had a support in here, right? We had a support in here, but if you bought it with like a 20 pip stop loss, it would have been fine, I think. Let's check. I don't remember how I bought this. I think around 25 maybe. Still safe, right? Still safe, maybe something like this. And then if you go to H1, H1 has broken structure. Now what you could have done is refine this H4 zone into the H1 zones. Go to the line chart, maybe here, maybe even here. What is that? QMLs, right? Or as what do you call this? Left shoulder, anything, whatever you want to call it. Okay. And also we even got a rejection entry here. Now you need to understand this is your closest daily zone. This is your closest daily zone. From here to here, you have 50 pips. So worth a shot, right? It's worth a shot. So that's the thing. Pay yourself at the right point. So you're always on some good trade. So what happened? Came down, rejection. If you waited for, I did not wait for a rejection. I just bought it here. Okay, I did not wait for any rejections. I don't know what trend line I saw. Okay, but yeah, I just bought it here. This is where I bought it. And then see after the rejection, it did not close below this. Okay, this candle, see, this is now for you to say that this candle has broken below this line, it has to be a closing, right? This is not a closing, this is an opening. These are just broker issues. See, they went below this line. So after the rejection, you could have entered. See, after the rejection, you could have entered, and right away you have what? 50 pips. See that? Right away you have 50 pips from the daily zone, right? From the daily zone. I think I took the sell here. Okay, got stopped out at break even. Was it this? Something like this. I don't really remember. Yeah, I think I got the sell here, if I'm right. Let's see. Yeah, I think maybe I was waiting for a confirmation and never got that or something like that. Okay, now can you see what happened? We have the setup both ways. Okay, no, not both ways. I told you to pay attention to every H4 candle, right? I have told you to pay attention to every H4 candle, right? To just pay attention to every H4 candle. Now, if you come here, okay, if you pay attention to what happened with this candle, what did it do? Okay, you can also say H4 rejected this H4 resistance, not wrong. Okay, and you can also say H4 rejected the H4 support. What did I tell you when, what did I tell you to do when we have rejections from both sides? What did I tell you? I told you to drop one time frame lower and then look for the breakout, right? Breakout structure or the break of the open close. Go to H1. What happened? The structure break was clearly bullish. Can you say? Now, do you have any reason to sell yet? No, you have no reason to sell yet. So if you have no reason to sell it, what can you do? You can start looking for buys itself, right? You can start looking for buys itself. So I think I waited for this zone for an entry. Okay, and missed it by a couple of pips, I think. Something like this, I don't remember. Yeah, I think this was the only trend line. Oh, no, this was the trend line. It tapped right into the trend line and it started flying. Okay, look at this. Yeah, I did not place my entry on the trend line. I had my buy limit set here. Okay, because now I have a little OCD when it comes here. I want the perfect end. Now I'll tell you one thing. Don't go behind perfectness. It's very hard to find perfectness in this market. And if you try to do that all the time, if you try to get these pinpoint entries all the time, trust me, you're going to lose a lot. Okay, I've done that before, so I'm talking with experience. Don't look for perfectness. Just try to get an entry and make the money. Okay, so try to get a good entry and a good exit. That's it. Okay, so you can look for perfectness later. Okay, these pinpoint entries and all that. For now, just it's who cares even if you entered here, right? Because if you know the direction, Who cares where you're entering? That's the thing. Okay, so don't look for these. Okay, I'm used to these, so I always try to get these. It's very satisfying when you get these types of entries, but sometimes you miss them. Sometimes you do like stupid stuff when you're looking for perfectness. So just take my word for it. Do not look for perfectness. Just try to get a good entry. That's it. Okay, so see, it tapped into the trend line, right into the trend line. You can see that because that's also a good trend line starting from the origin point of that trend, right? And then see that never got here. Okay, it never got here, so I missed it, but it could have been a great one. Yeah, now did you see? This is why I keep telling you to trade what you see, not what you think you see, because in here, yes, we know this was a daily zone, right? We did know that this right here was a daily zone. But if you do not have any confirmations, do you have any reason to pull the trigger? Do you have any reason to take a sell? No, you do not have any confirmations here. So why would you take a sell? If it is not confirmed, you know it's going to move up, right? You know it's going to move up. So what happened? That is exactly what happened, right? It moved up, right? It moved up. So you need to understand that. Okay, you need to understand that. And then we have a way, yeah.
Could we have confirmed that there was a H4 breakout? Not a breakout, like a rejection?
H4 rejection, but what's the confirmation entry?
Yeah, that's
That's the main thing. Okay, because a confirmation entry is different and a medium risk entry is different. I'll teach you about medium risk entries later. But yeah, a confirmation entry is different. A confirmation entry is confirming, right? It's confirming that the market wants to go move down. Right? But in here, do we have any confirmation? No, nothing. Right? No confirmation. So just let that go. So what happened? Moves up. What are these zones? Okay, so this liquidity is taken out, right? Very clearly, this liquidity is the previous day's highest liquidity is I did not even take the sell here. Okay, I didn't even take the sell here. Yeah, previous day's highest liquidity is taken out, and we had a trend line. It was perfect. Yeah, we have a new H4 candle as well. I think it was the same trend line. Not this one. I think maybe on the H1. Was it this one? Yeah, almost. I think somewhere here. Or maybe this one, I don't remember. Maybe this one. See, from the origin point of this one. Okay, from the origin point of this huge trend, there it comes, taps into these areas, and what happened? Instantly drops. See that? 730, 8. Now you see the precision with these, right? You see the precision of these zones. Okay, like I told you, all it takes is flexibility, nothing else. Okay, once you master these concepts, for you to make good money, all it takes is flexibility, nothing else. Trust me. Okay, if you are flexible enough, if you wait, okay, if you master patience, you can make some good money. Okay, so there we go. Look at the drop. 1130, 1030. Now if you go to H4, now, of course, we have our setup, right? Of course, we have our setup. Now, here, of course, I did not take any entries because the day was almost over, right? The day was almost over. Now, one thing you need to understand is, I think I did get an entry here. We're starting a new week, right? We are starting a new week. Now, if we go to the weekly time frame, clearly, now we can come to a conclusion. Okay, we were wrong here about the bullish move because it dropped. Can't help it because, like I told you, you need to always stick to what they are showing you. Okay, not just assuming stuff, right? So now in here, you need to understand. Okay, accept your mistake. Okay, it was never bullish for some reason. It dropped. We don't know why. I don't even know the reason why. But one thing I know is daily never turned bullish. That is why it kept turning, kept falling. Okay, so that's that. But yeah, if you see here, structure is broken. Right, structure is broken. All that is broken. Now what can you do? Now you know that weekly is bearish. If you go to daily is daily is of course bearish. It started here. The daily bearish storyline started here, and it never ended. See that? Do we have any H4 bullish breakouts? Do we have any? Nothing. As of now, we do not have any H4 bullish breakout. So which means, you know, now weekly and daily is bearish, and we are still okay to look for sales, right? We're still okay to look for sales. Now, if you come here, you can start marking out. Yeah, you can start by marking out what? Higher time frame levels, right? Higher time frame levels on the weekly itself. So what do we have? We had this. I thought this might be a good zone for a sell. We had this, right? We had this, and also we had this dropping point. Yeah, I'll explain that stuff later, right? We had this. These are some zones that we can look into for sales. And on the weekly itself, since we have a nice drop, we have this trend line. Can you see it? We have this trend line. Now you need to understand. Now this is how I normally draw these levels. Okay, this is how I normally get the trend line price level. I call it the trend line price level. Now, the reason I do that is, let me explain the reason why I do that. Now, this is a weekly trend line, right? That's a weekly trend line. But if you go to the lower time frames, it's all over the place, right? This thing is all over the place. So what you could do is go to the weekly itself. Okay. Now, assume that this is the current weekly candle. Skip one and then just assume that this is your next weekly candle. Okay. This vertical line is your next weekly candle. So if the next weekly candle itself want to get into this trend line, what should be the best zone that you have? This is where it overlaps, right? This is where it overlaps right here. Can you say? Right here. You understand that, right? This vertical line is your next weekly candle. So where does the weekly candle meets this trend line? Right here. Now, then what you could do is draw a horizontal line on where it overlaps. Go to the lower time frames and see if you have anything there. Go to the daily. What did we have? Open close, because this is a rough price level that we drew, right? This was a weekly trend line level. This was the weekly trend line price level. So what you can do is just mark that out, drop to the lower time frames and see if you have any zones nearby, because this is just a rough price level. Now you know, there we go. We have a nice daily level, right? We had a nice daily level in here. Go to the H4. That whole thing was an H4 resistance. Now do you see that? So now you know this is a very good zone to look for a sell, because why? It was a weekly trend line level and also a daily open close plus this H4 resistance. Can you say? So this is how you can filter out levels. Okay, this is how you can filter out the levels. Okay, so now if we wait for Asia to end and all of that, first one, second one. Okay, do you have any confirmations? Okay, of course we did get a confirmation here. Okay, we got a confirmation entry here. Let me show you. Let me delete this. This zone is irrelevant, right? This zone is already broken with this candle, so who cares, right? Now in here, I thought, okay, we got the confirmation entry. Reason H4 rejected this area. Not on this broker. Oh, it has not tapped here on this broker. No. Yeah, if we stick to Saxo, we wouldn't have made that mistake. But I saw that. I saw that, but never took the trade, because for me, this zone was just better. Okay, better looking. So look at this. Yeah, on some other broker, I saw this. Okay, H4 rejected this area. And then if you go to H1 gave this open close break. So I thought, okay, maybe it might fall. But then again, like I told you, this was the best zone. You saw why, right? So I waited. Asian highest liquidity. Those are stuff that comes with experience. And I can't just make up stuff as to why I skipped this entry. Okay, it's just experience that, like, sometimes you know, okay, sometimes you might be wrong, but sometimes you know, okay, not going to work out because this zone is better, much, much better. Okay, so I can't make up stuff. I can't tell you, oh, I did not do this, I did not do that because of this. No, I'm not going to do that. It's just experience. Okay, as once you practice enough, yeah, you'll have that instinct sometimes. Okay, so that is not something I can't give to you. Okay, it's something you'll get with practice. Okay, so because I can't just talk bullshit as to why I skipped this entry. No, it's just experience. I skipped it. That's it. Okay, so there we go. We have the Asian high, right? We had the Asian high. We had all of that. We had this zone. Was this zone? This was a weekly trend line. This was a daily open close, a fresh H4 resistance. Okay, I had a sell in here as well in case if I missed this one. I had a sell limit set here, a sell limit here. Both of them are still running. Okay, both of them are still running. So what happened? There we go. Entry. High risk entry. Okay, not high risk. I'm not going to say high risk. This kind of medium risk. But if you get a confirmation, we did not get any confirmations here. We did not get any confirmations here. Only thing we got was a rejection, and that is not a confirmation. But if you go to the next candle, what happened? There we go. Confirmed, right? H4 rejected H4. And then what did H1 do? H1 clearly broke, right? And also, there was another perfect trend line for this zone. I don't know if you guys saw that. Did you see that? This was a weekly trend line. Yes, we know that. Okay, and also this weekly trend line overlaps with this H4 resistance at 1:30 p.m. That is London Open for me, I think. But there's a better trend line. Okay, I don't know if you guys saw this. Look at this. Break and retest of this trend line that started from the origin of this trend. Look at this. First touch, second touch. Now, do you see why this is a valid trend line? Because you do not have any closings above that. See that? First touch, second touch, it breaks. And then what happened? It got retested here. Once again, retested here, dropped. Can you see that? Okay, so perfect trend line. That was the perfect trend line. The weekly one was okay. It was also perfect, but Like I told you, don't look for perfectness, but see how clean that is. You can see that, right? Okay, so there we go. We got the drop. Now in here, we got the confirmation. H4 rejected H4. Go to H1. You had your breakouts, right? You had a breakout in here very clearly. Then if you're looking for another sell, what can you do? You can start marking out your higher time frame levels, right? You can start marking out the higher time frame levels. What did you have on the H4? We had this level and we had this level, right? We had this level and this, but now you could have taken the entry from here itself directly because see, this is only few pips away, right? You can just refine this zone into this zone. See, just 14. I don't know if this is 14 pips, but yeah, very close, very close. Okay, and then we had another trend line. I think this was the trend line that I drew into this zone for my confirmation entry. Was it from the bottom? I think it was from the bottom, if I remember. Okay, I think I drew this trend line. Yes, I think I drew this trend line, sold it right here because it was the confirmation entry with a 20 pip stop loss. And trust me, I barely got stopped out. Okay, I need to show you everything. Yeah, with a 20 pip stop loss. And I wanted to have a 100 pip target. It got stopped out at break even. That happens, can't help it. Okay, so let me show you. Yeah, look at that. With spreads, I thought, okay, I'm going to get stopped out. The market is going to move here, but it did a nice rejection and it just fell. But then again, I moved it to break even. Reason it's running into Asia now and it'll be slow. It'll be consolidating. So if the next day the market might open with a good move and all that stuff. So when it moved here, I think when it broke below this thing, I moved it to break even. Okay, moved it to break even. I had to let that trade go. Okay, I had to let that trade go. And then if you go to yeah, we'll have to start from the daily time frame. We'll have to start from the daily time. Now, once again, you need to understand, did we ever turn bullish? No way, right? We did not turn bullish. Also, another thing to note, weekly, now we know weekly is in a bearish storyline, right? Then what is this? An obstacle, right? Daily is in a bearish storyline. Then what is this? An obstacle. Can you understand that? If you are taking any cells, no matter where it is, where is your safest target? This is the best one, right? Because daily and a H4 zone, this whole thing should be your safest target. You understand the reason, right? We have obstacles in here. We have obstacles in here. Okay, so now if we start from the daily time frame, you can see how daily is rejecting daily and all of that. H4 never broke. Okay, H4 is still dropping, but one thing to understand is that H4 never turned bullish. H4 never gave us any bullish breakout, so which means it is still bearish. So that explains why today, well, like why we got the sell today, right? Why we got the sell today with news and all of that. Now, if we go to daily, the next closest daily zone we had was up here itself. We can see that right now, like I told you, we had nothing here. If we go into these zones, we're going to get confused. I told that to you right now. That had these levels marked out, but then again, I don't recommend doing that. Okay, I used to do this and it's confusing. So I don't want you guys to make the same mistakes that I made. Okay, so yeah, don't do that. You just stick to current price. Okay, now in here, of course, the closest daily zone we had was here, but the market has already dropped 100 pips away from that zone, right? So which means now what you could do is like learning from the lessons we learned here. You saw how it never went to the daily. Same thing this day, never went to the daily. Okay, so now you need to understand, okay, maybe I need to pay more attention to the H4 zones now, right? We need to pay more attention to the H4 zones now. So we have these newly created zones, right? Newly created resistance and all of that. Oh, and also weekly bearish storyline. What is this? Another daily zone. Obstacle, right? Another daily zone. So I'm not telling you to trade all of this. Trade in the direction of the market. That's the best. Those are the best kind of trades, which means the market is bearish. Taking sells are the best types of trades. But if you are flexible enough and if you know where to pay yourself, you can always get some good entries. See, because I took a buy in here as well. Not sure. Yeah, I don't remember which trend line I used. Like this was a daily zone, right? This was a daily zone. We had news this day, right? We had news today. And then we like Asia, what did Asia do? Asia yeah, left its low right below this. Can you see it? Asia left its low right below this and not yet. Let me show you. Let me show you. We have news. Just remember we had news. And yeah, look at this. A buy from here. We have this liquidity. Asian low. Taken out into the daily zone. Buying it. Because why are we buying it? What is this? Relatively equal highs. Can you say liquidity? You know what happens with news, right? Buying it, taking your profits here, and you know that the market is still bearish and news has two moves. If it goes up, it moves down. It moves down, it goes up. So it went up. News, first of all, it went up. Then you know it took this one out. Hunting for this, you know that the market is still bearish, taking another sell here from this zone itself. So what happened? Look at the drop. Okay, and also you could have taken trades from this zone as well. Can you see that? Do you see where the buy came from? And do you see the reason why? Okay, so that's the thing. Now, with the I have already taught you everything. Okay, like almost everything I have taught you. So you see where the market is reacting to, right? Everywhere the market is reacting to, you know the reason why it is reacting to where it is reacting. Okay, so why did it react here? This was a good obstacle, right? A daily support with this H4 support, right? Daily support and the H4 support. Now, see, if you refine this daily zone into the H4, and if you got the buy, look at this, you had another 50 pips from this. These are high risk though. These are high risk, so you need to move it to break even fast and all that. But look at this, you had another 50 pips in 1 hour, not even 1 hour. Okay, so that's the thing. Like if you're flexible, if you know where to pay ourselves, that's good. Okay, that's great. So look at the drop now from this H4 resistance itself. Okay, why are we falling? Why are we falling? Like I told you, we never had any bullish breakouts. So we don't have to assume stuff, right? Now most people think, oh, okay, it went this far up, it might even break above this and move here. No, that's making up stuff. What do you see currently? You see that the market is clearly bearish. There are no bullish breakouts. So go with the sell itself. Okay, go with the sell itself. So there we go. Okay, and also we had good trend lines, right? I think this one, I think this was a great trend line. See, for today's sell, I mean this area. So maybe from here, I think. See, good trend lines, right? Good trend lines. So that is what happened. So now we can expect what we could expect the market to take out these lows, right? Let's see what's happening. Let's see what's happening. So like I told you, yeah, of course, at the start of the week, I think this is the high of the week. Looks like the high of the week is already created. Now it might fall. Yeah, it is falling now. This is the high of the week, and yeah, I'm glad I'm on the sell from right here. Yes, from right here. I have taken the sell from right here. So I have taken a trade from the high of the week itself. So that'll be a nice one. Okay, an Instagram worthy screenshot. Okay, so there you go. We have this drop. So you can pay yourself. You know that since we are bearish, you know that the previous week's low is going to get taken out. So you could take off a little bit from this sell, right? You can take a little bit off from this sell and then target this low itself. See, that is 260 pips. Now let's see what are the obstacles and what are the next zones that we could pay attention to. That what I'm paying attention to. Okay, so now currently I'm expecting the previous week's low to get taken out. Okay, and after that, on the weekly, of course, the next zone is all the way down here. Right, the next weekly zone is all the way down here. Let's look at monthly. See what monthly has done. Yeah, I don't want to focus on these areas, but it can even play here. Let's see if we have any daily zones in line with these zones. Okay, the closest monthly zones we have are here. The next weekly zones are, of course, here. We don't care about that. Okay, let's go to daily. Now, if we go to daily, right now, if we go to the daily time frame, after this day, we can clearly say that daily rejects daily. H4 once again breaks. See this? All these minor breaks and all that. If it breaks below this, it's even much better. Now we know that daily is still bearish. Then what can we do? We can once again start looking for sells itself, right? I think this zone, okay, this was just a zone on the monthly. Okay, it was so far away. So the best thing to do is just remembering that there was a monthly zone in here. You could refine it here, right, to the daily zone. So now in like what I'm expecting is this. It depends on how today's candle closes, right? It depends on how today's candle closes. Now, if it closes below these areas, right? If it closes below this one, this zone turns into what? This zone turns into a resistance, right? First of all, it was a support. It is broken, then it might turn into resistance. So if the market closes here below this, I'm not expecting it can go here, but I'm not expecting the market to go here once again. Okay, I'm not expecting the market to go here once again and then fall. Okay, so it might use this resistance and then fall into these areas. Okay, and then fall into these areas. We have a 100 pip drop. Go to H4, maybe refining these into these areas, right? I'm not expecting the market to go here, but if it goes here, just once again, just be ready to take a trade. Okay, be ready to take a trade. Just because I told you, I'm not expecting the market to go here, Doesn't mean it can't, right? Doesn't mean it can't. I can be wrong too. Okay, but I think if it closes somewhere here, if the daily closes on current price action, not current price action, somewhere here. Okay, so I think this is the zone that is going to be used as a resistance, and then we can expect a drop back into these areas. Okay, so that is what I'm expecting. So pay attention when the market, look at that. Right now it got used as a resistance. See? On the H1 though, strong zone, broken, used as a resistance, gave a small drop. Don't know how far it's going to fall, but yeah, you see that, right? That is what I'm expecting. If the market closes somewhere here, I'm not expecting the market to go here. I'm expecting the market to use this zone as a resistance and then drop, taking these out into these areas. Now, if you want to take buys here, go ahead and do that. But remember that it is high risk. You're trading from an obstacle. So you're not going to use a huge lot size. You're not going to risk 1 or 2%. No, you need to find trend lines into these zones. You need to see if timing is perfect and all that. And only if everything is perfect, you trade from these obstacles. All right, so you just go with the current direction of the market. Okay, so remember that very well. Remember that very well. Okay, so that is what I'm expecting. So you see this, right? Hope it's clear. Hope it's clear. So yeah, you guys are already on these cells and all that, so I'm pretty sure it is clear. Okay, and I also sent you that setup on GU, right? You saw how clean that one was. Let's check that out. Yeah, yeah, was that? I think this one, right? This little cell that happened on Monday, I think. Monday or Tuesday, I don't know. This one, right? It was very clean. This was a classic ICT setup though. We had this daily open close, right? We had the daily open close. Asia made its high right here. See that? Asian high, equal highs. Can you see that? So this could have been a very nice setup if you trade a GU this day. Asian high, right? Because you know what happens, right? You know ICT's power of three: accumulation, manipulation, distribution, right? So normally on forex pairs, not forex pairs, on these GU and EU on majors, accumulation happens on during Asia. The manipulation happens during London, right? The distribution happens during London close. I don't know what happens during the distribution. I don't care because this was set up I traded when trading SMC, Asia, and the manipulation during London. Okay, so those days what I used to do was look at Asia, see if it is creating liquidity. Let's see if it is creating liquidity. And above that, I mark out a higher time frame order block or rejection block or a breaker block, whatever. Okay, and then take the sell from there. But right now, what I do is, okay, right now what I do is same thing. If Asia has created liquidity, I try to mark out a key level. And then also as extra confluence, what I do is try drawing trend lines into that zone, right? So rather than just directly taking it now you could have even taken this if you were a smart money trader because what is this? ICT teaches this. There's a rejection block. Okay, there's a rejection block. So see, he knew Malaysian SNR already. Okay, he just made up names. So that's okay. Look at this. Break and retest trend line. We had, I think, this continuation trend line. Perfect. A classic ICT day. See that? I never got here. That's okay. But look at this. Look at the timing. Right at 12:30 a.m. p.m. That is London Open for me. Okay, that is London Open. So what you could do is take a sell here, just close it here. That is what I did when trading SMC. Okay, so taking a sell here, closing it right here, 38 pips. That's it. Okay, so important stuff. Okay, these are important stuff. It works everywhere. Okay, it works everywhere. And some of you are trading NASDAQ as well, right? So that's nice. This thing is nice. That's 100. Okay, so even in here, yeah, I don't know why I marked out these zones. Delete them. Let's go to weekly. Let's see what it is, what this one is doing. Yeah, in my opinion, weekly, did it turn bearish? Weekly closed below weekly. This zone, did it even tap there? Nah, it did not. Can't say weekly closed below weekly. Yeah, but daily, of course, it was bearish, right? Weekly was still bullish, right? Weekly was still bullish, but daily was still daily started its bearish storyline here. Maybe that is why they continued with the sell move. I don't know. I don't trade this thing now. But the same thing, if you go to H4, you can see how H4 never turned bullish, right? Lower highs, lower lows, went up, back down. Okay, back down. So where did the sells come from? I saw some of you trading this. I just wanted to check out where the cells came from. Let's see. This one, of course, I think this was from the open close. This one, where did that come from? Yeah, from this SVR. I think, or maybe the open close. Yeah, resistance on each tail. Yeah, looks good as well. Yeah, this one may be defining it into these open close levels and taking a trade. And I also saw some of you had a buy here, eh? Was it here? I think it was here. H4 rejected H4.
Because the sell level was 100 pips above. I thought
Above.
of like buying it,
Buying it into
getting
the
on
sell
the
zone.
wait and as well.
That's a nice one. So buying it into the sell zone, right? That's a good one. In here, I think we had the setup. H4 rejected H4. H1 breaks open close. H4 creates a new support. Go to H1. Oh, there we also had an open close, so it wasn't that perfect. But yeah, I think we saw how the support played out. Yeah, that's the confirmation because it happened with the next candle itself. See, it happened with the next candle itself. So yeah, I just wanted to check out how this played out. That's all. Okay, so can you understand this? Can you understand this? Let me know. Yes, let me know like what we went
Yeah,
through
bro,
now.
question, bro.
Yes,
So for other pairs like Gold, not Gold, GU
yes,
and Nasdaq or whatever, right?
yes.
How do you determine the stop loss size? Because like for gold, you normally use
Now,
20.
yeah, 20
Right?
to 25 on gold. Now, if when I was trading GU now right now, of course, I don't trade GU OEU. Okay, I don't trade GU OEU, but when I was trading this, okay, when I was trading GU and EU with SNR, now with SMC, of course, yeah, it was 3 to 5 pips because why? We use the lower time frames, right? Even the 1 minute. Okay, so that was fair to use 3 to 5 pips, but if you're trading as a EU, GU, or GJ or whatever with these concepts, try to have like on GU at least a 7 to 10 pip stop loss. That is what I recommend, 7 to 10 pip stop loss. Because once again, don't think, oh, 7 to 10 pips, but my target is 10 pips. So 20 pips, that is only 1 to 2. No, we are trading on the higher time frames. If you are trading on the higher time frames, there is no way your target is going to be 20 pips. It's going to be more than that. Okay, so if you are trading GU is a little volatile. So on GU, I think a 7 to 10 pip stop loss is better. Don't go below 7. On EU, a 5 to 7 pip stop loss is okay, right? 5 to 7 pip stop loss is okay. On GJ, once again, 7 to 10 pips is okay. On NASDAQ, I don't trade this thing. I don't even know like what you call this. Okay, like pips so points. So what it is, I do not know. So that thing you need to, if you guys are trading this, yeah, just get an advice from
I figured out like $1 equals to 1 pips,
one
and
pips.
I gave the stop loss as 20 pips, just like
Yeah, maybe you can do something like that. Yeah, I
So
don't.
is it like something you just like experiment with?
Yeah, on Nasdaq.
Uh, so for example, any pair that's like not gold, right? Like let's
Yes.
say it's Bitcoin or stuff, something like
Okay.
that.
Okay.
So I just want to know how you would estimate that stop loss because it's
Um,
yeah.
I like to be honest, I have no idea how to estimate and stop loss here and all that. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
because I do not know how much this is. Honestly, I do not know because for me, I study gold only, so these
Mm-hmm.
are just irrelevant for me. Okay, these are just irrelevant for me. Now, let's say I'm buying it somewhere here. What I would do now, let's say let's say this is the first time I'm trading this and I'm taking a buy. Let's say we had a zone in here, I'm taking a buy here. So what I would do is maybe just put my stop loss below the next zone that we have, the closest nearby zone we have. I'll just put my stop loss there. So that's the thing. I do not know how much this is. Okay, I do not know how much I'm losing if I lose the trade. So that is why I don't even look at this. Okay, that is why I don't even look at this now. Like also one thing, wait, so it's also with equities. I noticed any. Hmm. Yeah, actually, I think you can get advice from someone who actually trades these stuff. Okay. On EUGU, I can suggest them. Okay. EUGU, I know what to do because I traded SNR with yeah, EU and GU. But on NASDAQ, of course, I do not know. Honestly, I have no idea. So I can't even suggest anything here. Okay. How much the stop loss would be and all that. I honestly have no idea. Okay. So I think there are calculators, right? I think there are lot size calculators or something. Maybe you can use something like that, and then just calculate it with the amount that you are going to risk, maybe something like that. In here, of course, I do not know what to tell you because I don't trade this. Okay, I don't even look into this because for me this is completely unnecessary. Okay, yeah, yeah, there's an
Yeah.
application, I think. Okay, so
Because
I
with like
mm,
because with like the previous ways that we trade, let's say supply and demand, stuff like that,
mm,
we usually have the stops behind structures, right?
yeah, we
So
understand.
the thing with SNR I've noticed is it's more of like an arbitrary stop. Right? It's like, okay, let me just put like 25 pips at and then try to enter at the best price I can, right? And then
Yeah.
and it's usually like those continuation trades, right? It's just like it taps in on the next candle and it just goes, right?
Goes, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas for like let's say whatever they call it, right? SMC, algo, whatever. You're usually trying to gain right at the bottom, so your stop can be like covering that structure, right?
Yeah.
And then you try to ride it, but it's always harder for those styles of trading to get in on the middle, like which
Yeah,
is what I've
those,
seen SNR can do. But
mm.
your stop is just like it's just somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Okay, that's the thing.
Mm.
So you need to, that is why we draw confluences as well. Okay, because you don't just randomly take trades, right? Just because like,
Right.
yeah, even though we're trading from the middle like this, are you just randomly taking the trade? No, you draw trend lines, you try to line it up with timing and all of that. So you can't say like our stop loss is at a random place. No. Okay, so you're assuming that the market is not going to move any further because we have a trend line into a zone as well with confluences and timing. Okay, so like we're not placing our stop loss at random points. Okay, so we need to understand that we're not expecting the market to go above those zones. Okay, there are chances when if it goes, but most of the time it does not if you have your trend lines and everything in place. Okay, so yeah, with SMC, of course, you wouldn't be able to take any of these, right? You will wait, there we go, the breaker is here, let me take here. You're going to miss half of like more than 80% of the opportunity you are going to miss it that way. Okay, if you wait for this zone and then maybe place a stop loss above this zone and do all that. But yeah, with SNR, I don't think we're placing our stop losses at random places. Okay, we're drawing, that is the reason why we draw confluences. That is the reason why we wait for the proper timing. Okay, and also that is why you wait for a confirmation entry and all of that stuff. Okay, so not placing the stop loss at random zones. Now, let's say in here, for example, here, now if you are taking a sell here, okay, if you are taking a sell here, the best thing to do is at least, yeah, you can't have it above this, right? You can't have it above this. The best thing to do is try drawing trend lines into these zones, right? Try drawing trend lines into these zones. The only trend line, the last trend line that we see is this one, right? We had a weekly trend line here. We have this here. Now, the best thing to do is if you are taking this sell in here, right? If you are taking this trend line, this sell in here, you're placing your stop loss above the trend line, right? You're placing your stop loss above the trend line like this around 20 pips. So because that is the only like you're not expecting the market to move any further than this trend line. Okay, so that is why now this is not just a random key level, right? It also has a trend line into it. So you're expecting the market to stop here and then reverse. Okay, stop here and then reverse. So that is why you're having your stop loss above this. Okay, so stuff like that. Those are just easy stuff. Okay, just master direction and your confirmation entries and all of that. Then you will itself know where to place your stop loss and all that stuff. Okay, because also placing a stop loss is personal, right? That's a personal thing because you're not going to place the same same stop loss that I'm going to place, right? Because I'm risking something else and you might be risking something else. So it depends on how much the stop, like how much you are going to risk and all of that. Okay, so those are stuff that you can't add those into your trading plans. Okay, I'm always going to have 25 pips. I'm always going to have 20 pips. No, those are stuff that you need to work with current price action and then see. Okay, now let's say we had a zone in here, for example. Let's say we have a zone in here. Okay, and the next closest key level is somewhere up here, right? The next closest key level is somewhere up here. And let's say we also have a perfect trend line as confluence into this zone. Just an example. Okay, let's say we have a perfect trend line as confluence into this zone. Now, what you could do is place a sell here. Okay, and now let's say like I told you to have 20 to 25 pips or something like that. But let's say the next zone is here and you can have a stop loss like this. Go ahead and do that. Go ahead and do that because if you can like reduce your risk, always try doing that. Okay, because now you know, okay, the next zone you have is here. Okay, there are less chances of the market going here. We have a key level here and a trend line here. So you're not expecting the market to move here. So you have your stop loss above the trend line. So just because I told you to have a 20 to 25 page stop loss, if you have chances of having a little less one, just go ahead and do that. Okay, so because like DRA tells that, okay, DRA tells you if you always play with the rules, okay, you will miss a lot of opportunities. That is very true. Okay, because rules are something that we make for ourselves, right? Okay, but the market doesn't respect our rules. Okay, so rules are good, but then again, if you are so tight into your rules, if you are like too disciplined, you will miss. Okay, you will miss half of the fun. That's it. Okay, so those are stuff that will come to you with experience. Don't worry. Okay, just master this and you will see what I'm talking about. Okay, you will see what I'm talking about. Okay, so yeah, just let me know now. What are the questions you have? Because I wasn't here for like 1 week, I think. So do you have any questions? Anything that we need to go through? Just let me know. Yeah.
I came across some videos on YouTube saying like you can tell which SNR will break and which SNR will hold by looking at like 5 minutes or 15-minute time frames. So I
Okay.
just want to like get your advice on that. So is it like something we can actually do? Like
Nah, that's bullshit, bro. No one can do that. So
yeah.
don't even look into that stuff. Okay, so yeah, just maybe if you know those guys in person, just show them a zone and then ask them, okay, is this zone going to hold or not? And then ask them their opinion. Okay, no one can tell you. No one can tell you this zone is 100% going to hold or it is going to break. Okay, so maybe like yeah, some people will tell you like it has to now. Let's say this is a key level. If the market is reaching with huge momentum, it will break. Okay, now that is true, but sometimes it goes up with huge momentum and then drops right away with that. Like the next move just drops the
Yeah,
stuff. Okay, sometimes it
yeah.
goes up. Okay, also some people will tell you if it just reaches this zone with like this, maybe building liquidity and all of that, this zone will hold.
Yeah, yeah.
But if the market is bullish, it will move up. Okay, so
Mhm.
those are just bullshit, bro. Don't even look into that stuff. Okay, just completely unnecessary. Those are stuff they tell to get the like to get themselves hyped up and all of that. Okay, those are not possible. Okay, you need to understand those type like nothing can be guaranteed in this market. Like I told you, the only holy grail here is flexibility. Okay, flexibility. So
Yep.
those are just bad ideas. Okay, they're trying to hype themselves. Okay, so don't go into that. Okay,
Uh,
yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
So, brother,
nice.
thanks.
Okay, welcome, bro. What else? What else? Let me know. Yeah, this session I want to do this just to ask you your questions because I wasn't here for a week. Now I have covered most of the stuff, right? We did a backtesting session as well. We did a back. Yeah, you can do another backtesting session today, but before that, I need to know if you have any questions. Okay, there anything in specific that I need to go through because I wasn't here for a week. Maybe.
Yeah, I was wondering if when the day ends and there's no structure break to the up or downside, and the structure breaks happens intraday,
Okay.
is it possible to switch to a
Uh,
storyline or
no,
a
no, no,
better
it's not
storyline
possible.
yet?
It's not possible. Okay, now
Okay,
let's
so
say
it's only on the day end.
yeah, now let's say the day ends here and you have no structure breakouts to the upside or to the downside. Then what you could do is follow what happened the previous week. Okay, the previous day. Or if there are no structure breaks that happen on this day, follow the previous one. Okay, what's happening inside of that is only yeah, what's happening inside of that day is only relevant once that day ends actually. Okay, so that day's break, like trusting that for a shift in a storyline is not that good in my opinion. Okay, so until it clearly does that, until it closes and then gives a break and all that, just continue with whatever the storyline we had. Okay, so like once again, if you get, let's say now with that, like I told you, let's say there are no breakouts in here. Okay, let's say there are no breakouts inside of this candle to the upside or downside. Let's say the next day it did a breakout. Sometimes it could shift the storyline, but then again, we're assuming stuff, right? We don't know 100% if it really shifted the storyline or not, right? We do not know 100%. So the best thing to do is follow with whatever storyline we had on the previous day, because you know how a storyline ends, right? That is the only way it ends. Okay, so just follow that. Okay, question, is it beneficial? Okay, nice. Is it beneficial referring to H1 for a weekly daily? So yeah, or should we stick to the time frame below? Is it beneficial refining to H1 for a weekly day? Like, what do you mean refining to the H1? Like, you mean a weekly and a daily zone? H1 for a weekly daily zone. Yeah, just stick to one time frame below only. Okay, so always stick to one time frame below only. If it is a weekly storyline, right? For entries, And for obstacles, you're dropping one time frame low. Okay, if it is a daily storyline, for entries and obstacles, you're dropping one time frame low. That's to the H4. Okay, so H1 is only used for the confirmation entry. You know what your confirmation entry is now, right? H4 rejecting H1 and then H1 breaks. Other than that, like, who cares about what's happening here on H1, right? Who cares if H1 breaks this and whatever? We don't care. We don't care about any of this because H1 breaks are irrelevant for us unless it happened inside of an H4 candle. Okay, so it's very important stuff. Okay, so we don't focus on H1 for direction. Okay, yes?
Yeah, that was my only question. If it was beneficial for more like precision to go down to H1, like keep refining. Because I come from SMT
That's
too,
nice.
and
Yeah, that's okay. That's
ICT is
okay.
always doing that.
Yes, that's fine.
So that was my question.
That's fine. Okay, you can always like maybe mark out daily zones and then just go to H4. If there's nothing on the H4, you can even refine it to the H1. That is not a problem at all. Okay, you can always do that. You can, but the thing about refining is you will miss, okay, because refining is done to get like very precise entries, perfect entries. But like I told you, if we always look for precision, we'll miss most of the stuff. Okay, we will miss most of the stuff. So the best thing to do is just mark out to a nearby level that you have and just have your stop loss above the levels that you think the market might reach. Okay, like for example, this is just an example. Okay, so let's say we have this daily level in here and you're refining it into, I think it tapped here. Yeah, it tapped here. Now let's say there were no zones here. The next H1 zone you had was here. Now you're not placing an entry here, but you're waiting for this zone to play out. Okay, but most of the time what happens with refinements is it'll tap into the high time frame level and it drops. Okay, and it drops. Now, if you wait here, what happens is you're missing the entry, right? Because you were waiting for perfectness. But if you placed your entry here and had your stop loss above the zone like this, even if it taps here, you're on the trade, right? You won't get stopped out, right? You will not get stopped out and you are also on the trade. But if you do this, the chances of you making the actual money is it's not there, right? Right? You might not even get tapped in. Okay, so always the best thing to do is place an entry on that higher time frame level. So do a very small refinement and have your stop loss above the zones that you think the market might move into. So even if it goes there, you're safe because your entry was anyway here. Okay, because remember, we're here to make money, right? We are here to make the money, not to get perfect entry so empty. Okay, so just do this if you don't want to miss the trades. Okay. Yeah, what else? Let me know. What else should I need to go through? Yeah, hope that was all the questions. Now let's do some back testing. Okay, let's do some back testing. What do you guys want to back test? Is it gold, NAS 100, EU, GU? What else? Just any suggestions? Let me know. We can back test anything.
I think gold would be good.
Gold would be good. Yeah, because most of us are now trading gold. So let's see how we could come up with a plan to trade gold itself, right? Yeah, let's stick to gold. Let's see. Let's do this. Yeah, have you guys tried backtesting this way with the replay tool? This is better. Okay, just put your replay tool at a random point and then start backtesting so you know if you really understand the concepts or not. Okay, so this is what I love to do this. I love to do this. So see, you have no clue where it would land, right? So just put your replay tool there. That's it. When is this? This is a Wednesday, right? Let's wait for the day to end and see what's going to happen. I think this is where the day ends. Yeah, that's where the day ends. Oh, I think did we talk about this price action in the last backtest decision? I think we were somewhere here, right? In the last backtest decision.
Yeah, in March, I think.
Yeah,
March
it was in March. Let's move further. Let's move further. Let's see more. Maybe somewhere here. What is this? This was a Thursday. The next candle is at 4:30. Is where the next one is. Yeah, let's do some backtesting here. Let's do some backtesting here. Okay, so play price. Let's go to the daily time frame. Okay, this is a Thursday. Let's set the line so we know when to switch to the time frames, right? We'll know when to switch to the time frames. So this is Monday. So if you're backtesting this way, this is a very nice way to backtest. Okay, just draw some lines, and then remember to switch into the higher time frames when the market reaches into these lines. Otherwise, you're going to miss your daily candles, your weekly candles, and all that. Okay, so just draw lines and then wait. Okay, and then wait. So let's see. Yeah, this is a Thursday. This is Monday. Where is the next month? Right here. This is where we should go into the monthly time frame. Okay, this is a good way to backtest. Okay, now what shall we do? We can't go to the weekly time frame as of now, right? We do not know. Just assume we do not know the weekly storyline. We're going to follow what? We're going to follow the daily storyline. Okay, that is what we are going to do. Okay, so let's see. Where did daily? Like I told you once again, don't go here. You will be confused. Stick to current price section, to whatever they are showing us on the on the current price section. Let's see. So yes, weekly. Now daily. What did daily do? Where did daily start? Storyline. Yeah, daily. I think it started a bullish storyline here, right here. Daily rejected a daily support. It went up, and I think it never turned bearish again. We have to wait for this day to properly end. Yeah, I have to put the replay tool here. Okay, let's do this. Yeah, this is where the starts. I'm sorry. We saw how it made a drop.
Start from the
Sorry?
open close of the daily zone
Daily, yes.
level
Here,
to the left, maybe a little
This
bit
one?
more.
this one.
The bearish open close one.
This one.
That one. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Now we can say the bullish storyline started. Yeah. That is where the daily bullish storyline started with this candle. Daily rejected daily, right? Yeah, even here it was very clear because it tapped into support and it went up. But yeah, looks like the daily bullish storyline. There was a daily bullish storyline that started here. Daily rejected daily. H4 broke out, right? H4 broke out and it kept moving higher, right? It kept moving higher, and that daily bullish storyline, it never ended, right? The daily bullish storyline, it never ended. How does a daily bullish storyline end? Daily has to reject a daily resistance, right? Daily has to reject a daily resistance, and then H4 has to do what? H4 has to give you a breakout structure, right? H4 has to give you a breakout structure. So that is how a daily bullish storyline ends. Now let's see what's happening, right? Let's see what's happening. So yeah, we are still bullish. That is what we can see. So for buying, what are the next levels we have? We had this. Yeah, this is a good, but we already saw what the next candle did, right? So let's start from Friday because we saw this drop, right? We saw this drop that happened on next day. So the thing, what happens is now when you see the next candle, okay, now these are psychological stuff that happens when backtesting. Now, since we saw this candle already, since we saw it dropped, now what we try to do is just we're cheating on ourselves. Okay, then we try to see where this drop came from, and then we'll make up reasons as to why it dropped from here. Okay, so that is why I wanted to go from the next stage. So we're cheating ourselves, right? We're cheating ourselves. So that is not that's not going to help any of us. Okay, that will not help any of us. So let's see. Now, one reason I can say why the reason it dropped from here was maybe because H4 resistance will be an obstacle for what? A daily storyline, right? H4 resistance will be an obstacle for a daily storyline. Maybe I think we had a confirmation entry here, right? H4 rejected this H4 resistance, right? This where let's just check that out. Like I think we could have taken this sell, right? Because H4 rejected this H4 resistance. Once again, why are we paying attention to the H4? Because in a daily storyline, right? In a daily bullish storyline, H4 resistance will be an obstacle, right? H4 resistance will be an obstacle. Yeah, there we go. H4 rejected H4, right? Go to H1. We had the open close break. So we could have taken a sell in here because we also know that an H4 resistance will be an obstacle for the daily storyline. So H4 created a new resistance. So we could have looked for a sell from that zone like that. Right? So it never tapped there, but yeah, that is my explanation to what happened there. So we could have taken that. We could have of course taken that because as soon as this H4 candle ended, you know it's going to drop, right? You know it's going to drop. Like if you didn't take a direct entry here, there we go. That is where your next entry will be. Okay, so let's go to daily. Let's go to daily, see what daily has done. Okay, let's go to daily and see what daily has done. Okay, what can you see on the daily? Now, even though this thing, even though this thing was a bearish move, right? Even though it was a bearish candle, did we react to anything on the daily here? I'm talking about current price action. Now, if you go here, of course, you can find out zones. See that? You can find out a zone. Then you can say H4 daily rejected daily, and then H4 broke structure. You can say that, but if you keep doing that all the time, you will be confused, very confused. So that's why I told you to stick to current price action. Okay, stick to current price action. So it makes things simple. So now if we stick to current price action, we know that daily never rejected to anything on the daily, right? It rejected nothing on the daily. So can you confirm that we are bearish? No. Just because you have this H4 breakout, can you confirm that we are bearish? No, right? We cannot. So which means, because what's the procedure for a storyline? Daily has to reject daily. H4 has to give you a bearish breakout or as a bullish breakout. Now in here, do we have the rejection from the daily itself? No, right? We do not. Like I told you, if we stick to current price, we do not. Okay, so which means we can still assume that we are bullish, right? We are bullish, and maybe this break was a fake breakout structure. Okay, maybe, we don't know. Let's see. Okay, so what was this line? Yeah, this is where the day storyline started. Now let's go to daily, and since we're still bullish, let's look at zones to buy from. What are the zones we have? Right away on the daily, we have this open close very nearby. See that? Can you see that? We have this open close here on the daily very nearby. What else? What else? Yeah, marking out nearby levels. Let's go to H4. Let's try to refine this. This was the daily zone. This right here is the H4 zone. You could do a small refinement there. And we have this bearish breakout, but I think this is a fake breakout because this thing didn't happen as a result of a daily rejection. I think, I have backtested this, and normally, like, you know what people call fake outs, right? Fake breakouts. Normally, fake breakouts happen when that breakout was not a result of a rejection. That is when a fake out happens. Okay, just don't take my word for granted, like I tell you always. Just go and do your own backtesting and see. Okay, normally those fake breakouts happen when it wasn't a result of a rejection on the higher time frame, on one higher time frame. Okay, stuff like that. Okay, so let's say we are still bullish. Okay, that's the only conclusion we can come into, because this thing never rejected anything. So we're still bullish. So what are zones we can look at to buy from? Yeah, we have these. This was a daily zone. I'm knocking out nearby levels. This was an H4 level. Might even reach here, I think. Right? It might even reach here. So they are around, how many pips is that? Yeah, 35 pips away from each other. So let's wait. Let's wait and see what they are doing. We can wait for the first two H4 candles to end and then decide what's about to happen. Okay, now why have we marked out these levels? Because these are daily and H4 levels, right? Daily and H4 levels. So I always tell you, right? Mark out your zones on the higher time frames and only look for trades when the market gets into those higher time frame key levels. Okay, other than that, you'll have to wait. Okay.
You don't mark the last H4 zone out because it's too far away?
This one?
Yes.
Now, this is the best zone we have, right? This is with a daily zone. These are with daily zones. Now, look at this. This was the daily zone. This support is around 80 pips away. So that is not even a refinement, right? Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
That's completely a different zone. Okay, so just mark out zones that are in line with your high time frame levels. Those are the best type of zones. Okay. Okay, let's see. Now let's wait for the first few candles to end and decide what to do. Yeah. First one. See that? Now, just because we had this zone marked out, did we even react? No, who cares, right? Let that go. First one. Okay, second one. Now we can see how H4, it has also came back in, it also came back into a daily zone, right? It also came back into a daily zone. Also, it is reacting to these H4 levels, right? Never got here, that's okay. Now H4 has rejected this H4. Let's see if we have our confirmation entry. We have a minor structure breakout. Can you see it? A minor structure breakout, not a major breakout, not a major breakout. So we don't have the confirmation properly. Not even an open close break. The only breakout we have is this minor break in here. See that? This is the only breakout we have. I don't think that's enough. I honestly don't think that is enough. So we'll have to wait more. Okay, it's reacting to this. A new support was created over here on the H4, right? A new support was created over here. And let's wait because why we do not have any confirmations, right? Do we have our confirmations? No, we do not. Okay, so we can wait. Let's wait. It moves up, rejects an open close. Yeah, see this. So this level played out very well. This level played out very well. Moves up now. See, of course, London didn't do any. London did not give us any entries. See, London's candle did not give us any entries. Let's check H1. We have that confirmation entry for a sell. Can you see? We have the confirmation entry for a sell because H4 rejected H4, right? H4 rejected H4. And if you go to H1, H1 has done the open close break. Can you see? H1 has done the open close break very clearly. So which means we can now start looking for what? For a sell, right? For a sell from these zones, right? For a sell from what are the zones we have? On the H4, of course, we did not have any zones, right? Can you see? I tell you, right? I always tell you to mark out zones that are on the H4 itself. So now in here, we do not have any H4 zones. So let's go to H1. What do we have? We have this level that was created. We have this. We have 3 levels. Once again, it's better to wait, right? It's better. Now, what I'm trying to teach you here is wait until you get the perfect setup. Okay, just patiently wait until you get the perfect setup because like if you master one setup, that'll let you make more money than any other, like anything else. Okay, because if you do not know where to enter from, if you do not know where to exit, like what's the point of taking a trade, right? There's no point. There is no point of taking a trade. So patiently wait until you get the perfect setup. So yeah, we have 3 zones. We have 3 zones. Another thing that we could do is what? Wait for the timing, right? So New York kill zone is at what is this? This is March, right? This is March. Let's check H4. Show candles are at 11:30, 3:30. Then yeah, then Asia is at 4:30 and 5:30. I'm sorry, not Asia. This is New York timing. Okay, this is New York. Now what we could do is we could look for a trend line, right? We could look for a trend line into these zones and then take a trade. So let's see. Of course, there will be nothing on the H4 because this was a long wick on the H4. Let's go to H1. Yeah, we have these. We have all of these. These are the closest ones we have. I think this zone is better, right? This one doesn't have any. What about this? No, that's not broken. Let's delete this. I think this is the best zone we have. Let's try taking a sell. Stop loss can go above the resistance maybe, or that's too much. Stop loss will be 25 pips above the resistance. Can you see it? Stop loss is above the resistance, and we can have a 3% target maybe. Can we do 100 pips? Let's try doing 100 pips. 25 pips stop loss, 100 pip target. That'll give us a 1 to 4 like this. Okay, let's see what they're doing. Let's see what they do now. Do you see the reason why we're taking a sell? Right, this zone. Why? This zone did not have any trend lines as confluence. These are the 2 zones with the trend line confluence, right? The closest zone we had. So yeah, like in conclusion, this is the zone that you're looking at to take a sell from. This whole zone. Right? This is the zone that you're looking at to take a sell from. This is the zone that you are interested in because this zone has trend lines as confluence at this time of the day. Okay, so hope that's clear. Let's see what they're doing. Okay, 3:30, 4:30. Can you see that? We're getting a rejection. I think that's a good sign. It goes here. Now, do you see why I placed my stop loss above this? because even if it goes here, I'm still safe. But what if I had my entry set here and it never went there? I'm not on the trade now then. Can you understand that? Okay, so there we go. It taps. We delete this. This is annoying. Look at the drop. Right away you have 85 pips. Can you say? So if you maybe take off something at 50 pips, this would have been a good trade, right? This would have been a good trade. So that's that. Yeah.
Brother, so if, as we know, the sell zone was up right here, like, can I annotate?
Yes.
Yeah. So the sell zone was right here, and when price was around these areas,
Yeah.
I would have actually, thought of buying this till the sell, because there was
Don't do that, bro, because in here, we saw how H4 gave us the confirmation for a sell, right? We saw how H4 gave us the confirmation for a sell. So buying it into that area will be risky because it doesn't mean that the market, like, just because it gave us a confirmation, it doesn't mean that the market must go here and then fall, right? It can just drop from here. It says sometimes you see we do not get any pullbacks into the zones. Okay, it can drop from here. It says so don't do that. Okay, don't try to fight the trend. Just always try to like go with it. Okay, go with it. Don't try to fight it. You will lose. Okay, you will lose most of the time. Okay, so yeah, that was a good sell. But let's see if it is going to give us 100 pips, 25 and 100. Yeah, 25. It's a 1 to 4. See, if we are getting our 1 to 4 setup. Okay, let's count this. Okay, let's count how much we can make for this week. If we get only confirmation, as of now, I'll teach you the confirmation entries. Later, I'll show you how to do the high risk and medium risk entries. Today, we can go through. No, we're not going to go through medium risk. Let's stick to confirmation entries only for now, because the reason I'm showing you the confirmation entries is like, see, if you get the confirmation entries, the chances of winning a confirmation entry is very high. It's very, very high. So with this, you gain confidence. Okay, without confidence, you can't go into high risk setups. Okay, you can't go into high risk setups. So that's why I'm trying to show you the confirmation entries only for now. Okay, later I'll show you where to place your high risk entries and all that. Okay, so yeah, there we go. We're getting that. The day ends over here, right? The day ends over here. Now we can move it to break even because structure is also broken. Yeah, let's not take off anything until it reaches 100 pips. It'll reach 100 pips. Let's see. Okay, now we're at break even. Then it's here. Oh, are we going to get stopped out? Let's see. Yeah, break even. For some reason. That's a break even. Nope, not a good Monday. Okay, so not a good Friday actually. This was on a Friday. Now let's go to the weekly time frame. We can start on the weekly because see it's a Monday. Okay, so no good trades on Friday. We did get a good one. We didn't pay ourselves, so we couldn't make any money. Now let's go to the weekly time frame. Right, let's go to the weekly time frame. See what weekly has done. Okay. Weekly is looks like weekly is in a bullish storyline, right? Looks like weekly is in a bullish storyline that started right here. Can you see that? Weekly has rejected that weekly zone, right? Weekly has rejected that weekly zone. And then what else do we want to see? We need to see if daily has given us any bullish breakout. So let's go to the daily. Yeah, daily did give us a bullish breakout in here. Can you see that? Daily did give us a bullish breakout in here. So which means weekly is still bullish, right? Weekly is still bullish. So for buying, what are the zones we have? Yeah, we have this open close here on the weekly. And here, what do we have? We have another open close. We have two open close levels on the weekly time frame. Okay, on the weekly time frame. So let's go to daily. Yeah, on the daily, can we refine these zones? Zone we already, yeah, this might be a good support because it's also with the weekly zone. Yeah, we have this daily still looks bullish to me because daily never turned bearish, right? Daily never turned bearish. Let's see. Go to daily. Oh, and also we had this resistance that the market is currently reacting to. Did we break that? Yeah, we have broken that. Okay, let that go. Daily also looks bullish, right? Daily also looks bullish. So this might be a good support to pay attention to because it is a weekly and a daily level, right? Weekly and a daily level. Let's go to H4. Yeah, no point of looking at any H4 rejections or anything, right? We're starting a new day. Let's see what's happening. So weekly looks bullish as of now, right? Weekly looks bullish as of now because weekly rejects weekly. Daily break structure, right? Daily break structure. So as of now, weekly is still bullish, right? Weekly is still bullish. Daily also looks bullish. So yeah, let's look at buys when the market moves into these areas, right? We can look at buys when the market comes into these areas. Let's see. Go to H4. Yeah.
Can we also can you go to daily, I think?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Can we also take this as a support as this broke? It's a bad
This
drawing,
one?
but yeah, that one.
We can, but then again, it's a slight. It is a break. It is a break, but I don't think it has happened on all the brokers, right? See, it's just a 3 pipette difference. Okay, I don't think it has happened on all brokers. So yeah, let that go. Okay, let's see. All right, let's start. Let's start with the H4 time frames. Let's see what they're doing. Okay, let's see what they are doing, and then we can decide what to do. First one. Okay, first one, and then second one. They gave a good reaction here, right? They did give us a good reaction here. What did this candle do? This one rejected the open close. Can you see that? H4 rejected H4 open close. Let me delete this for now. Once again, a bearish breakout here. H4 rejected this H4 level. Can you see the rejection from the open close? So I told you, focus on the previous candle. Okay, for this candle, you're focusing on this candle. Now for the next candle, you're focusing on what happened on this candle. Okay, that is how you get your entry. So let's see. Now H4 has rejected H4. Yeah, if you go to H1, we have a bearish breakout. Can you see that? Looks like we have our setup, right? It looks like we have our setup in here. H4 rejecting H4, right? H4 rejecting H4, and then H1 breaking open close. Looks like we have our sell setup. Maybe this zone that was there on the weekly, yeah, it might not play out. Always follow what the previous candle did. Okay, that's the, yeah, trust me, I have done enough backtesting on this, and if you follow what the previous candle did, that is the best thing. Okay, just follow that. Okay, just follow that. That's the most high probability thing. So then maybe this is the Asian low. We can take a sell down into these Asian lows. Now we do not have anything on the H4. Can you see that? Nothing new was created on the H4 in here. So let's go to H1 to see if we have anything. Yeah, we have many zones here. See, we have one zone here, right? We have one zone here. And what else? Yeah, too many zones once again. Same thing that happened somewhere here. We have too many zones like this. Do we have on H4? H1. Let's see. Maybe this trend line. Let's look at timing. Let's look into timing. London kill zone at 11:30. London session at 12:30. I think this is the zone. Same thing that happened here. Can you see? We skipped this. Looked at the top two zones. I think we'll have to skip this. Look at the top two zones for a sell. Let's set a limit right here. Can we place the stop loss above that? 25 pips once again. See, 25, 100. Okay. Yeah, let's do this. Same exact setup that we had here. Can you see? Looks very similar. H4 rejects H4. H1 breaks. We did not have anything on the H4, so we marked out the H1 levels, drew a trend line. Let's see. Nah. It just dropped from somewhere. I have no clue. Okay, let's see. Dropped. London kill zone. London open. Never tapped here. 12:30. Let's see. New York. Kill zone and New York open. And what's the timing? This is 12:30, 1:30, 2:30. Go to H4. Yeah, we have the buy setup now. Can you see that? See how interesting this is? See how, yeah, this is just awesome. Okay, see how it's shifted. Okay, if we did this trend line, now we have our buy setup. Now we have the buy setup. Why? H4 rejected the H4 support. Can you see that? H4 rejected the H4 support. Go to H1. H1 gave us a break of the open close level right here. Right here. We did this. We did this as well. Now we're going to buy it because I told you to follow what the previous candle did, because this candle determines the direction of the next candle. Okay, so let's see. H4, now you can see this, right? H4 rejected the H4 support. Go to H1. H1 breaks open close. Like this. Can you see? It breaks open close like this. So now, what did I tell you? Now we can do a buy setup, right? We can do a buy setup. But I told you to start marking our zones from the H4. It's now on H4. We do not have any zones, right? This is the only zone we have, which the market reacted to. Go to H1. Yeah, we have this zone here. Let's use that because this zone also once used as a resistance here, right? So what we could do is draw a trend line like this. I think this is the best fit we have, right? Do you see anything else? I don't see anything else. Nah, I don't see any other trend lines. I think that's the trend line we have. You see this, right? Follow what the previous candle did to get the direction of the next candle. Okay, so H4 rejected H4. H1 breaks. Also, we are inside of weekly and daily buy levels, I think. Okay, so we could, yeah, this is the closest fit we have. Now, if I drew it from somewhere here, I think I can make it perfect. Yeah, perfect. Can you see that? Right at 5:30 p.m. Okay, right at 5:30 p.m. Can you see that? So if we do that, we can get a perfect trend line, right? We can get a perfect trend line if we do that. Okay, so let's see what the market is about to do. 5:30 p.m. I'm setting my buy limit. I think we can do 20 pips now, but I'm going to place my stop loss below this because it could even come here, right? Could even come here. So let's see if 20 pips is safe. Yeah, 20 pips is safe. 20 pips is right here. Okay, let's see if we can have our 1 to 5 setup like this. Okay. Yeah, let's see what's about to happen, but I doubt these areas since we have the breakout. Let's see. Let's just watch and see what they're about to do. If they maybe there's a rejection below this, let's take off partials. Okay, it might not give us the 1 to 5 setup then. Okay, so you see this, right? Did everyone understand the setup? Okay, H4 rejects H4, H1 breaks open close. Okay, there are no levels to choose on the H4. We only had this same level. Then what we did was we used the H1 level, which was once used as a resistance, timing, trend line, putting a stop loss below this level as well. So it might come here or might not, right? So I don't want to refine this here and then take a buy here. So it's better to take a buy here, have my stop loss below these levels. Okay, so let's see. Okay. Okay, 3:30. Did we miss it? Nope, we still have time. This zone is already broken. 4:30. There it comes. There it comes. Just assume we got tapped in. Okay, obviously you'll get tapped in, right? Now on TradingView you did not. Okay, but yeah, with this, yeah, see, just by 2 pipettes. So of course spread should have tapped you in. Okay, we are on the trade. Perfect. Back to the trend line. There we go. Not yet. Okay. There it is. 5%. Can you see that? You're done. Now you need to understand that these might not be swing entries, right? These might not be swing entries because can you see how the market is consolidating? Okay, now Now, how do I even know that the market is consolidating? That's another question. Okay, this is how I know it. This is the structure point we have, right? This is the main structure leg we have. And we are still inside of that, which means we are consolidating. Okay, so we can't expect this to be a swing setup, but we have our 5%. That is all we need. That's a very nice setup. A classic confirmation entry. H4 rejecting H4, H1 breaking, timing, trend line, buy. Okay, so that is all we need. We have 5%. A break even on Friday. Fine. Let's wait. Let's wait for the day to end. Okay. Go to H4. Now, who cares where it goes, right? We have made our money. Yeah, that's it. So that is how the day ended. You saw that, right? So that was perfect. That was perfect. So yeah, it's just a confirmation entry. Okay, the perfect confirmation entry that we always talk about. So that's that. Okay, let's go to the daily time frame. What has daily done? Yeah, we're in a consolidation, so it might be a little tough to trade. We have a resistance created here on the daily, right? We have a resistance created here on the daily, but daily has rejected the daily support. Can you see that? Daily has rejected this daily support. See that? And then let's see if we had a bullish breakout on that day itself. Yeah, we have the bullish breakout on that day. Can you see? We had a bullish breakout happening on that same day. So which means what? Which means daily is once again bullish, right? Daily is once again bullish. So we can start looking for buys from where? Go to daily. Yeah, we have the same support in here. So this remember that we have levels in here that we could buy from. We have this level in here. That's an open close, right? We have this level that's an open close. Let's go to H4. See, if you stick to this H4, H1 thing, trust me, guys, it's perfect. Okay, it's perfect for entries and to determine the direction of the next H4 candle, because H4 drives the daily, right? H4 is what determines the daily direction. So just follow the H4 candles and you will know what's about to happen, if the next H4 candle is going to move up or if the next H4 candle is going to move down and all that stuff. Okay, so let's see. That's done. Yeah, daily looks bullish, right? We could refine this zone into this support, right? We can refine that there, and we can refine this daily zone into this maybe nearby. Yeah. Okay, let's see this. Now let's see. Now what are we going to do? You know what, right? We wait for Asia to end and then we decide what to do. So let's see. First one. Now do you see that? We marked out a wrong level, but does it hurt your, like, does it reduce your capital? No, we didn't take a trade, right? Let that go. Okay, we had that. And what else? What else? We have this zone here. Let's wait for Asia to end. Did you see what happened? Okay, so it came here, H4 rejected H4. H1 breaks open close. Can you say? H1 breaks open close. So which means now we can buy this thing, right? We could buy this thing into where? Yeah, this thing looks like liquidity, right? This looks like liquidity here. Relatively equal highs. Let's try taking a buy into these areas. Where shall we buy it from? Now we have the confirmation. We know that the next candle is going to be bullish because H4 rejected H4 and H1 broke. So we could buy it once again, maybe from this support, right? Yeah, maybe we could buy it back from this support. We have nearby levels here. Not sure if the market's going to come back here. See if we have anything on the H1. Yeah, I think this is a good zone because we have this swing low down here as well. Can you see we have a swing low down here? We have this zone here. And let's wait for the timing. That is London kill zone and London open. Can you see how we're following the same exact steps every single day, right? We're following the same exact steps every single day. Now when it comes to high risk setups, I'll explain how to do that later. But right now, let's just stick to these low risk setups. Okay, confirmation entries. How you can, I'm trying to show you how you can make 5%. Okay, 5% a day is enough, right? Even 3%, consistent 3% a day is more than enough for you to make a living. Okay, trust me. So let's see. No, I think this is the closest. Oh, that's not even close, right? There are no trend lines. Don't stress it. Wait. I think this is the best trend line we have, right? Into this zone. I think this is the only trend line we have. What about this one? This one is also fine. Yeah, this one's also fine. So we can do a buy here. Stop loss can go below. Yeah, look at this, 20 pips, right? Can have less than 20, I think. Let's have around 16. Yeah, let's have 15. And let's target these highs. That's once again 5%. Like this. You see this, right? Relatively equal highs. We have our setup, that is H4 rejecting H4 support, H1 breaking. Okay, let's see what they're doing. Okay. Yeah, London's not getting there. Why is that? Okay, 130, 230. Okay, what are they doing? Building up more liquidity. That is one thing I can see. Maybe there's news because you see, normally London isn't this slow, right? You need to understand that when London is slow, there is news. Okay, there must be news. So these are the London highs. Looks like equal highs as well. Let's see what H4 has done. H4 rejected these areas, but of course we do not have any breakouts. See that? We do not have any breakouts here. Yeah, this is clearly liquidity as well. I think we'll have to wait more. Yeah, they'll sure. If there is news, they'll take this swing high out. So above that, the zone we have is this one, right? This was the daily zone we had. Let's see if we can do a high risk entry on this daily zone. Or what do you prefer, waiting for a confirmation or doing a high risk? I think a confirmation entry is good for now. Good for now for this back testing session. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. Let's wait for confirmations. Oh, yeah, I didn't even tap into the open close. See, now these are stuff you can't help. Okay, these are just stuff that you can't help. It never tapped here, right? So how could you have gotten an entry? There's no way. Okay, even if you traded SMC, there is no way. Okay, so these are stuff you need to accept. See, there's an order block. Did it go into the order block? No. So how could you have taken an? No way. No way. See, maybe from this H1 resistance, but then again, I personally I would have prioritized this zone above this zone because this was an H4 zone and this an H1 zone. And you know, I always love to trade the high time frames, right? So yeah, that's that. Now, this should be news for sure, right? Look at the drop. Dropped perfectly. And this high is taken out. This was, I don't know what high that is. Let's wait. Now we have our setup. Can you see that? We have the classic setup. What's that? H4, rejecting H4. See that? H4 rejected H4. And then if you go to H1, H1 breaks structure. Now, like I told you, when we have drops like these, can you expect it to go here? No, you have to look for a nearby zone. Now we have this zone in here, which was once used as a support, a good zone, right? Can you see it? This zone was once used as a support. Now it is broken, right? This could be a good zone to pay attention to. We have these zones here as well, but this is the best zone we have. Go to H1. We can't wait for timing, of course, because New York has already opened here. New York opened here. This is a late entry. Might even get here. The next thing we need to check is what? A trend line, right? Let's check if we have any trend lines into that zone. No, no. Go to which one? You see, this is interesting when you do the same thing again and again. What about, no, not this one. What about this one? No. Yeah, there are no trend lines. I think we'll have to let this go. Do you guys see any trend lines? I don't see any. I don't think there's any on the H1, right? I don't think there are any trend lines on the H1. On the H4, yeah, even on the H4, we didn't see any, right? We didn't see any on the H4 as well. H4 rejected H4. Yeah, we have these. No, no trend lines. Now we can take the sell though, because we know. Now, one reason I would take a sell is because of these equal lows. Can you say? So you know for sure it's going to take these out, right? But the thing is, there are no trend lines here, and the timing isn't that good. You can take a sell here. That is okay, but it is not a low risk entry. Okay, if there is a trend line, you can confirm that, or else could do a medium risk entry here, something like this. Okay, a good zone, because it was once used as support. We can have our stop loss above that. Yeah, we can have like 15 pips once again. I told you, right? I told you. Now, if you have a chance to get your stop loss reduced, do that. Okay, don't hesitate. Can we do 5%? I think we had an H4 zone here, right? Ah, yeah. The next H4 zone we have is here, left shoulder. I think this should be a good target. Before here, there's another zone in here, right? The left shoulder. Can you see that? So we need to target that. Let's see how this setup goes. Okay, so I'm not going to risk the same amount that I'll risk for a low risk setup here, because you see there are no trend lines, right? But let's see. Look at that. Can you see? Tapped, instantly made a drop. Why 8:30, 9:30? Okay, it's coming. 10:30, 11:30. It might run into Asia. Yeah, it's running into Asia. Let's just move this to break even and have a TP set here. Okay, have your TP set here, because now, do you see this now? You have no clue where the market is going to run, right? So can you have swing trades? No, you can't take swing trades that way. Okay, a swing trade must be planned from the higher time frames itself. Now in here, do you want to leave this thing into all the way down here? Don't do that. Okay, don't do that. Take your intraday profits and just let the market do whatever it wants to do. Okay, so we had that. The day is over. See that? Asia. We saw what happened. It tapped back into that. Let's go to the daily. Okay, daily is falling. Daily has broken structure as well. This is a QM, because we saw how this level broke through this level, right? So high highs, high lows, high highs. Daily has broken structure. It's a Tuesday. Daily has broken structure to the downside. So the next zones we have on the daily are one in here. Can you see that? We have one in here, and we have another one here. We had another one here on the daily. I don't think it's going to move into these areas. Yeah, maybe they might tap here and then fall. But just remember that it could go here, okay? But yeah, I don't think. Let's see. Now let's try to do a refinement. This one we have here. No refinements. Okay, so this is what we have. These are the zones to sell, right? These are the zones to sell, because daily has broken structure, right? Daily has broken structure, but the storyline has never shifted, in my opinion. Okay, like even though we have a daily breakout structure, looks like the storyline never shifted, right? See, because daily never rejected anything on the daily, right? Daily never rejected anything before falling. So let's see. But it would have been daily rejecting daily on some other brokers because of this. Okay, on this broker, it has a slight closing above that level, but maybe if on other brokers, if daily rejected this daily resistance, and then H4 broke to the downside, then it might be a bearish breakout, but we can't just go and look at all brokers now, right? So let's just stick to what we have here. Okay, so we can say daily never changed the storyline, but we have a daily bearish breakout. So we could look for sells. Let's see. Let's see. First one. Okay, so that's the first one. You see that? That's the first one. Second one. Okay, we get a rejection from here. Right. Okay, and also this one we have we got our setups from this cell. Okay, we got our profits from this cell, so that's that. Now we have H4 rejecting these areas. Let's check H1. H1 also broke structure. Can you see that? H1 also broke structure here. I think we have our confirmation entry. Yeah, this was also a daily zone, right? So we might have our confirmation entry. So what are the zones we have on the H4? We do not have any newly created zones on the H4. Let's go to H1. Yeah, H1 has this resistance. H1 has this SBR and then this QML kind of thing, right? Left shoulder. We have that. And yeah. Then comes timing, 11:30, 12:30, a trend line. This might be a good trend line, right? Might not reach here. Might not reach here. Let's see. See what we could do. Risking. Yeah, this one we can say we had around 3% because I told you, right? We're not going to risk the same amount that we're going to risk because we didn't have any trend lines. But in here, perfectly, we had 5%. So far, let's not take this one. For this week, what did we have? 5. Let's say 3 here, 8. And let's see what's happening here. Stop loss can be placed above this high, 21 pips. So even if it goes into the resistance, we're still safe, right? And I think we can target here, right? Let's just say we're targeting down here and then later into these areas. Yeah, we can target here. It's that's 4% once again. Let's see. Tapped. London kill zone. Okay, there it moves. How many pips is that? It's perfect. Yeah, 50 pips. We can go break even, right? After 50 pips, just go break even. That's good. 50 pips and break even. Let's see. Oh, we might get stopped out at break even. It is what it is. Okay, if we do that, don't cry. Let's move on to the next setup. That's it. 230. Yeah, that's another break even for that week. That's okay. Let that go. Let that go. Because like I told you, we're only talking about confirmation entries now. So let's wait. That's a break even. That's fine. Let's go to H4. Check what the new H4 candle has done. Yeah, we have the confirmation. Like we can come to a conclusion that the next candle, the next candle might be bullish because why? H4 rejected the H4 support. Can you say H4 rejected the H4 support? And then if we go to H1, we have the breakout right here. Can you see? We have a breakout in here. So let's try buying it. Newly created zone in here. On the H4, can you see? We have another zone in here on the H4. Let's go to H1. You can refine this one here. This one, of course, I don't think we have any refinements, right? Yeah, the next selling zone we had was here. So we could use these zones to buy it into these zones. Right, we had this H1 support. I don't think it's going to move here, but let's have it marked out. How many pips away is this from each other? Yeah. See that? Just 21 pips. So the next thing will be time. Right? We can wait for New York kill zone and New York open. Right? We can wait for New York kill zone and New York open and then pull the trigger. Right? We can wait for this time because I always show you, right? This is the best time to trade. Okay, this is the best time to take trades. So let's see. Then the next thing will be a trend line. We have this. See, this should be a good one. Can you see that? I can retest. Delete this one, place my limit here because you see this, right? Perfect. This perfectly in line. This was some H4 level, right? We can do a buy right here. Have our stop loss below the support just in case it comes there. 23 pips, maybe. Let's see. And where do we target? The closest target is here. So that is only 2%. I don't think this is worth the risk, right? I don't think this is worth the risk. Let's wait. Let's wait because you see that, right? It makes sense. Look at this. It's only 2%. Okay, we'll have to target at least more than 3%. So let that go. Let's see what they're doing. A rejection. We did not enter. That's fine. Okay, New York kill zone. It broke through these. I don't know why. We didn't take any entry, so that's fine. Okay. This happened. We have a rejection here. Can you see that? We have a little rejection here. Check H4. Check what H4 is doing. H4 has broken open close. Can you see that? H4 has broken the open close level. Nah, confusing. Let's wait. Let's wait and see what they do. I think the buy is still safe, but if it is confusing, like I told you, always learn to wait. Okay. Yeah, back into the support. Oh, see, the buy would have been good from the support. We didn't take that. That's okay. That's almost 100 pip buy. Let's wait for the day to end. Yeah, see,
bro.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask if in that scenario you said the risk reward isn't that good, right?
Sorry?
You were saying the risk reward wasn't so good, so you didn't take it, right?
Yes.
So like can you go back to the 1 hour?
Okay.
So your entry was it here or something
Yeah,
like that?
right here, somewhere.
Yeah,
this
so,
one.
okay, yeah, there, right? So if that risk reward isn't so good, and then you know that okay, maybe it could come here, right?
Yes.
Then would you just maybe try putting your entry here and you
Yes,
target here?
you can do that. You can do that. But the reason I didn't do that here was because can you see how this candle reacted to somewhere here and broke this open close? If I put the replay tool here, look at this. See that? Now, once again, buying it might be risky. Can you see that? Open close breaks, and all that on the H4. So buying it once again in here might be risky. Can you understand? So that is why I decided to, okay, stay out. Can you understand that? So
yeah, okay.
Okay, yeah. So let's see. It did go up though. Okay, no entries for us. Let's see. We can go to the daily time frame. Let me delete all this. Let's go to the daily. All right, what is daily doing? This is clearly a consolidation as of now. Okay, this is clearly a consolidation, I think. That is why it is low, because I told you why it is in a consolidation, right? Even if you go to H4, but still inside of this leg. Look at this. Still inside of this leg. This is the kind of like a lower high and a lower low. Never even went past that. So this is just a consolidation. So it is a little tough to trade consolidation. That's okay, but it's good practice. Okay, so let's see what they're doing. Let's go to daily. Okay, what did daily do? Daily, it did reject these areas, right? It did reject these areas, but if you go to H4, we did not have any breakouts yet. Can you see? We did not have any bearish breakouts yet. So they might take out this previous day's high into, yeah, they can take out the previous day's high into this zone. Or we also have this zone in here. Two zones that we could take trades from. Go to H4. Now there are ways to get direct entries, but like I told you, just stick to confirmation entry so we gain the confidence, and later we can do the risk entries and all of that. Okay, so let's see. We have the previous day's high. These zones should be good zones for sells. right? These zones, yeah, they must be good zones for sells. I think especially this zone in here. This zone might be a good one because of this liquidity previously is high. Okay, let's see what they're doing. Okay, first one. That's the first one. And I think Asia tapped that. Can you see? Looks like Asia tapped right into that. H4 has rejected H4. Can you see H4 rejected H4? Yeah, even these areas, no problem. If you go to H1, yes, we got the break of the open close. Can you see? We have a break of the open close right here. So which means we could maybe take a sell from what are the new H4 levels we have? We don't have anything. We have this zone very close by, or maybe this resistance itself, right? That is the zone we have on the H4. Go to H1. Yeah, on the H1 we can refine it into this area. Can you see? We can refine it here. The next thing will be the time, 11:30, 12:30, and then a trend line, maybe from here, maybe from up here. Yeah, this is the best fit, right? What about the break and retest? This trend line is broken, so we could use it as a break and retest trend line. Can you see? The market has closed below it. Yeah, we have two trend lines as well. Like I told you, don't expect the market to tap here and then drop. Okay, it doesn't happen all the time. So we can do a sell like this. We can have a tight stop loss here now. Because why? Can you see? Two resistances over here. So you can have your stop loss around. That's a good one. 13 pips, let's say. Should be the closest target. That's once again only 2%. Let's have at least 3% as a target. Yeah, the reason I'm targeting this is because this is the Asian low, right? That's the Asian low. Let's take out 3%. No, let's take off around 2% and then let the rest run. Okay, because this is also coming from a daily zone, right? This is also coming from a daily zone. So let's take off around 2% and then let the rest run. Okay, break even and let's let the rest run. There we go. Confirmation entry into the trend line, into the H4 level, which was refined to the H1 level. Yeah, we can take 2% from that. Can you see? We can take 2%, move it to break even. That's only 39 pips though. Kind of like scalping. I don't like to do this, but yeah, that's why I told you we can leave the rest into maybe these equal lows. Okay, so we have taken 2% from here, letting the rest run into this area. So we have around, what's that? 2% already taken. We have what, 3 more percent if it comes here. Let's see. Okay. 130. 230. Okay, it's a slow one. Yeah, there it comes. We once again have our setup. Can you see? We have the setup once again, H4 rejecting H4, H1 breaking, right? Which means we can still look for sells. We can still look for sells from these newly created zones. Can you see? Newly created zones in here on the H4. Go back to H1. Like this. And wait for the time. 4:30 and 5:30. Right, 4:30 and 5:30. But we could have just yeah, taken off 5% from this itself rather than taking 2%. But yeah, we've already done that, so that's what it is. Let's see. This is like a horizontal line, but still a trend line, a break and retest trend line. So we can do a sell here, right? We can do another sell here. So let's do another 1% risk here, and then for this one, let's take 5% itself. Okay. See how much pips this is if I have it here. Okay. Can have it here, 14 pips. Target 5%. These days now, can you see when in consolidations, the volatility will be very low. But I think in the last backtesting session, you saw how the market consolidated and all of that. No, not consolidated, how the market was running with high volatility, right? But in here, you see we're in consolidation. Okay, so look at this small amount of pips. Okay, just small amount of pips. So that's that. Let's see what they're doing. Okay. Look at that. Perfect. Look at the entry. Okay, that's a great one. 5%. Can you say? So how much? Yeah, we could have just let this run as well. I thought it might reverse after taking out Asian low, maybe into a break even. That's okay. There we go. We have our 5%, right? We have our 5%. You understand that entry, right? You understand that entry. Break and retest trend line, H4 zone, timing. You see how the market always gives you entries during London kill zone and London Open, or it's New York kill zone and New York Open. You see that, right? I can't make this stuff up. Okay, it happens all the time. So that's it. You have your 5%. Like I told you, I'm teaching you how to have 5% entries. Yeah, beautiful. I'm showing you how to have 5% entries, not swing trades. Okay, I'll show you how to do swing trades later, but right now, focus on making these. Okay, so you don't have to do 5% itself. Maybe try 1 to 3s. Okay, maybe try 1 to 3s. That's enough. Okay, so there we go. Now, how much so far? Look at this. No losses as of now. 5%. So 5. Yeah, we told this was 3. So 8. We took off 2 in here, right? So I don't know how much to calculate. 5, 8, 10. And yeah, let's say only 2%. 10. This is another 5%, 15%, right? That is 15%. And of course, for this one, we could say at least 3%, right? So we have 18% so far. And this is a Thursday. Can you see that? 18% so far, only with confirmation entries. Okay, so do you see the possibilities? Only with confirmation entries, and we are inside of a consolidation. Okay, so we have made 18% so far, following the same exact rules, same exact setup. Okay, so that is consistent. That is the consistency. Okay, so 18% so far. Okay, so let this go. Who cares about this, right? Who cares about this? Okay, 18%. Let's see. Oh, see that? 5%. And who cares, right? Who cares if this candle did that? You had your 5%. Okay, you had your 5% already. So who cares what this candle did? Okay, so let's wait for the next day. I don't know why that happened. So let's wait. We had the 5%. So as a daily resistance, right? Yeah, now trust me, if I was trading real time, I would have taken this for sure. Okay, I would have taken that for sure. High risk entry. Okay, so the last day of the week. Okay, so let's only look at this day and see how much we can make for the week. We have made 18% so far, right? Go to the daily. Yeah, I think I did something dumb. I saw what happened. Okay, let's see. Daily closed below daily, right? Daily has closed below daily. Let's go to H4. H4 break structure. Can you see that? So there we go. Daily starts its bearish storyline, right? Daily has now shifted into a bearish storyline. Okay, so what can we do? We can start looking for sells, right? We can start looking for sells. So where can we sell it from? We have this zone. Okay, broken clearly. Support broken, turning into resistance. And what else do we have? We have this zone in here, newly created resistance. Can you see it? We have these two zones. Go back to H4. Why are we looking for sells now? You know the reason why, right? You know the reason why. Okay, because daily starts a bearish storyline. Simple. Okay, so this one can be refined here. Okay. This one can be refined into this left shoulder. See that? And yeah, that is what we have. Let's do this. We did not take any entries here. Now, what can we do? We can wait for the day to end. No, not the day to end. We can wait for the first two H4 candles to end and then look for a setup. Let's see. Okay, first one broke this. So do you even care? No, who cares, right? Delete that. First one. Second one. Daily is in a bearish storyline, but I think H4 is playing from an obstacle. Can you see that? H4 rejected H4, right? H4 rejected H4. Go to H1. No breaks. No breaks on the, no H1 breaks. Can you see it? Do you have your confirmation set up? No. So wait. Okay, you do not have your confirmation set up, so wait. Okay. So what can you do? Just wait, right? All you have to do is just wait until you get the perfect confirmation set up. That's it. Okay, I think now we have it. For a buy though, I don't know how a buy is going to play out here when the market is bearish. H4 rejects H4, H1 breaks. Where shall we buy it from? This might be a risky one, but let's try buying it into this area, right? Let's try buying it into this area like this. Go to H1, we can refine this here, this one here. We can wait for the time once again. That is 4:35:30. Now you saw how the market always gives us entries at this time of the day, right? London kill zone, London open, RS New York kill zone, and New York open. Okay, so we can wait like this. Then comes a trend line. Break and retest. You see that, right? Okay, break and retest. So we could do a buy here. I don't know how well this is going to go because daily is bearish. We have the H4 confirmation, so we're trying to buy it into the next daily zone that is in here. Yeah, let's see. Can have our stop loss somewhere here, 16 pips. So we have 4%, right? We'll have 4%. So let's see. So yeah, let's double check H4. H4 rejects H4. H1 breaks. Yeah, see. Let's see what they're doing. Oh, stopped out. Yeah, no, I would have told, okay, I wouldn't have entered here because timing is not good. But no, I would have entered here for sure. So that's the stop out. Let that go. Can't help it. So down by 1%. That's okay. That's okay. I don't know why that happened though. Let's wait for this current H4 candle to close. So we might get a hint of what's happening, right? We might get a hint of what's happening. So then we can decide what to do. Okay. Oh, it's dropping. I think since daily start the bearish storyline, they have tapped into something here on the H4 and now they're dropping. 4:30, 5:30, 6:30. Once again moving up though. No, again we have the setup for a buy. Can you see that? H4 rejects H4. Go to H1. We have the break of the open close. Okay, we have the break of the open close, so we can take a buy, start marking our zones from H4 itself. We have this zone and this zone on the H4, right? You can see that. Go to H1. We have these. Now, of course, timing isn't good because New York is already over. But we have this. I think we had this break and retest. Yes. Can you see that? We have the break and retest very clearly. So we can, I think this is a Friday, so might be a little slow and messy, but we can do a buy here. Yeah, trend line, and this is perfect. So we can do a buy here into this area. Stop loss can be somewhere here. 12%. Yeah, we have the trend line in at 12 pips stop loss. Let's have like 14 pips. Yeah, that's 5%. 14 pips, that is 5%. Since we have this and this, I'm not expecting the market to come here. Let's see what they're doing. See, this is what happens. This is exactly why I told you don't look for perfection. Look at this. Break. Since the TL and key layer was perfect here, I had my buy limit set here, but what happened? It tapped here. But what if I did this? What if I had my buy limit set here, but my stop loss below the bottom one? Then I would have made some money, right? I would have made some money then with a 14 pip stop loss. What if I did that? Now do you see the issue with the issue when you always look for perfection? You see that, right? You will miss some. Okay, but yeah, I'm speaking without even the next candle might even come here. So let's see. Now, see, we could have made 4% very easily if we didn't look for perfection. A clear example of why over refining is bad. Shit. Okay, so let that go. Missed it. Yeah. Wait, let's wait. There comes a drop. Okay, so yeah, that's the end of the week. So how much did we make? 17%, right? 17%. Remember, only with confirmation entries. They have a medium risk entries, they have a high risk entries, but I only showed you the confirmation entries and you have 17%. Okay, so now do the calculation. Okay, just always do that. Okay, because that is what gives you that motivation, right? Money always motivates people, right? So once again, let's say with the $50,000 account into what? 17%. That's 8,500. 8,500 into 90% because that's the share you get on prop firms normally. You have $7,650 for that week, right? With like confirmation, with consistent setups. Can you say so? This is enough, right? For the start. This for the start.
More than enough.
More than enough, exactly. Okay, that is why I'm
Like
showing
most
you on
people probably aim like 5 to 7, right?
yeah, 5 to 7. So you see this, right? Okay, and you see how realistic these are, right? You see how realistic these are. All it takes is patience. Okay, all it takes is patience and flexibility. Okay, and then what you need to do is, like I told you, all you have to do is as soon as you increase the size of your account, it's going to be even more, right? Then this into 90%, that's how much you're going to make for the week. And then just imagine you get like this is possible, right? You have like a $400,000 account. That into I'm sorry, $400,000 account into what's that? 17%, $68,000. That is how much you can make for the week with consistency. Okay, so I'm not selling dreams. You saw how realistic these are. Okay, not
I actually
okay.
wanted to ask like
Yeah,
how well it would scale like with bigger capital.
with bigger capital.
Yeah.
Same thing now for confirmation entries. Okay, for confirmation entries, I always go for a 1 to 5. Okay, for a 1 to 5. So I take that 5%, I'm out. Okay, I don't like with time I will increase that. Okay, because like I told you, I'm planning to be a position trader. Okay, I'm planning to be a position trader. So I will not do any of these setups. It'll take some time because it's very hard to trade on higher time frames and hold it into the higher time frame reactions and all of that. But yeah, what I do is to scale off. I'll right now, of course, even like I don't care how big the account is. I'll just take 5% from my like 5% off if it's a confirmation setup, and I'm out. That's very consistent, very consistent. Okay, but with time, what you have to do is that's what I'm telling you. Okay, that is what I'm telling you. All you have to do is just have a 1 to 5, 1 to 5, 1 to 5, 1 to 5. Okay, target a 1 to 5. But what you have to do is not change the setup. Okay, grow your capital. Then you're making the money. Can you understand that? Okay, so 5%, 5% on $100,000 account, you know how much that is. 5% on a $200,000 account, it increases, right? 5% on a $400,000 account, it increases, right? So just imagine getting all prop firm accounts and then maybe starting this C trader thing, linking all your accounts to one. You have like a $1.5 million capital and then doing this. Imagine how much you're going to make, right? That is consistency. That is how you make the money. Okay, so like mastering one setup, sticking to that only. So you see this, right? Can I make this up? No, I can't. Right? So we did this. If you like, I'll send you the recording soon. Now, if you rewatch it, you will see for every single entry, except this one, this was a little bit different. For every other entry, it was the same exact steps that we followed. Right? Same exact steps. So that's the thing. Master this. Okay, master this setup. Now, it took a while for me to because for me, no one taught me this setup. Okay, I did my back testing. I saw even open close breaks are working with this setup. Even structure breaks are working. So that is why I back tested this like thousands of times on every pair, every single pair, not only on gold. And then like it now I know when to take that trade. Okay, now I know when to take that trade. So Just trust me, just stick to that. Okay, stick to that, and you will not regret it. Okay, you will not regret it. So just trust me. That's all I'm asking you to do. Okay, so like consistent money, and I have not even showed you medium risk and high risk entries. Okay, I'm only showing you the stuff that you can place on prop firm accounts. Okay, I haven't showed you anything else yet. Okay, so I'll show you how to do that high risk and medium risk later, so that you can make even more money on a personal account. Okay, so just stick to these for now. Stick to these for now. Might look ugly because rather than with SMC now, SMC, these are the types of stuff you get, right? Okay, a tighter stop loss and a huge target. Oh, 1 to 50 looks nice, but not realistic.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
But this, you see how realistic this is, right? Okay, you see how realistic this is. Small targets, right? Realistic goals. Okay, so very realistic goals. That's all you have to do. Okay, so stick to this. That is what I can tell you. Like even in the coming back testing sessions, what I'll show you is this same exact thing. Don't worry. I'm not going to switch from one thing to another thing. Switch from one thing to another thing. I'm not going to do that. Okay, so I'll only show you the same exact thing. Okay, same exact thing. So just stick to that. Okay, stick to that. You will not regret it. Okay, so did you understand? Did you understand what we talked about in the today's I'm sorry, in today's session? Just let me know. Was everything clear?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
very
Everything
clear.
was
I
clear,
think
right? Nice.
really just need to watch it again. I think
Yeah,
there's
watch it
a
again.
lot of information in this one.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so watch it again, and like I told you, don't wait for me to do the backtesting sessions. Go to your charts, see how good this H4, H1 setup is working out. See how good it is working out. So you'll be even more confident. Okay, this like if you are not confident yet, wait, just wait. The thing is, now when backtesting, all I have to do is, if I don't have an entry on this candle, I'll have to play one candle and wait for the next one, right? But when you're looking at it in real time, you're sitting with the chart doing nothing for 4 hours. So that creates an urge to pull the trigger and you do something stupid. That's the thing. So you need to master patience in real time as well, not only when backtesting. Okay, I know it's hard. I know it's hard to just sit 4 hours without doing anything, just staring at the charts. But if you master that, you saw what happened, right? You saw what happened.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so
the other thing I also realized is that
yeah,
because we tend to take the trade right after the 4-hour candle closes, right?
closes, yeah.
So it's like, which means that before that 4-hour candle closes, we need to do some form of preparation already.
Yes, you need to be
Right.
prepared. Okay, you need
Yeah.
to be
So we kind of need to anticipate, okay, if it closes here, right? And there,
Mm.
and then we need to plan the trade a little bit more, right? Before.
plan the trade.
Because
Plan
if the candle closes and then you're trying to plan it, you're probably panicking, trying to.
you will panic, yes,
Yeah.
because you'll have FOMO, right? Fear of
Yeah,
missing out.
yeah,
You'll
yeah.
think, okay, you
Yeah, you think you
don't
just
do
tap it the next minute and run. That's the thing.
that.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so don't do that. Just
Mhm.
follow the same exact stuff. You need to see how H4 closes. Okay, H4 rejects H4. Then you go back to the H1, see if H1 breaks. Okay, then have a notebook or something, put a tick. That's done. Then what you do is go back to H4, mark out the newly created H4 level, refine that into the lower time frames. Okay, did you do that? Tick that. Then what do you do? What do you do? Mark out the timing, draw the trend line. Did you do that? Okay, check. That is when you take the trade. Okay, so that is all you have to do. That is all you have for your confirmation entry. Okay, for your confirmation entry. Okay, so stick to this. You will not regret this. Okay, so trust me, you will not regret it. You can make more than 10% each week only with confirmation entries. Okay, so when it comes to high risk and medium risk entries, you can even make more. Okay, you can even make more. But right now, since most of you guys are trading prop firms, yeah, I don't know about this batch, but most of the other batches, they are trading prop firms. That is why I'm showing you this only for now. But later I'll show you how to do high risk and medium risk. You guys won't like that. Guys won't like high risk and medium risk entries because the name says it, right? It's high risk. Okay, it's high risk, so you wouldn't like that. So stick to these confirmation and low risk entries. You will love it. Okay, you will love it.
Those are usually for trying to grow small accounts.
Yeah,
right?
trying to grow small accounts. That is what it is.
Mhm.
But this is how you make money. This is how you make money. Consistent money. Consistent money day in and day out. Okay. If there are no setups today, let it go. Bye. Just let it go. Don't panic. You have another day coming, right? You have another day coming. So slowly with consistency, okay, you will grow. You will grow. That is how you make the money. Okay. So yeah. Can you understand this? Just let me know. Was everything clear? Yes?
Yep. Okay, brother. Thanks so much.
You're welcome, guys. Then yeah, that's it for today. I'll send you the recording as soon as I can, and we can have another session. Nice. Okay, we can have another session this weekend, right? We can have another session this weekend. I'll let you guys know the times. Okay, and also if you have any questions, always feel free to drop them in the group. Okay, I will always answer them. Even if I'm late, I will answer them. Okay, I will answer them, and also like share your screenshots and everything. So yeah, it motivates, right? Now, see, now most of you guys have executed them on MT4. So not only trading your screenshots, you guys have executed them. So that's good. Okay, that's good. So it doesn't matter if it's a demo or a real account. What matters is that you planned it and you executed it. Okay, so who cares, right? If it's a demo or a live account, it's the same market. Okay, but after some time, you can go into the live charts. Okay, prop firms. That is when you can make the money. Okay, so let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it slowly. Don't rush the process. Okay, because
thanks so much, bro. Appreciate it.
nice, bro. Okay, because just remember that trading is forex is not a get rich quick scheme. That is the only thing you need to understand. Okay, it takes time, it takes patience. So yeah, give it that, and you will you can enjoy the results. Okay, so yeah, then that's it. Have a good day. Have a good night. Take care. I'll talk to you guys in the next session. Okay, bye
Thank you,
bye.
brother.
Good night.
Good night, bro.
Thank you.
Bye guys. Bye bye bye.